what else will follow after this. So please, so I will appreciate that if we can spend more time on the juicy stuff. So with that, I would like to, um, yes, there are extra agendas here. So I would like for the members of this committee to please introduce yourselves. I'm very happy to see you all, and thank you so much for being on time and for showing up. Um, Thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. So we're gonna start from the left. If you can please introduce yourselves, and first I would like my co-chair to introduce herself, and then we take it from the left.
Good evening, everyone. Susan Camerata. I am the vice chairman of the committee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Josephine Fernandez Byrne. I am a board member and also the chair of the Senior and Aging Committee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ms. Goodwin. I am a member of the Community Planning Board.
Good evening, Michael Pimentel. I'm a committee member.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Argelia Ortiz, and I'm a board member. I serve on this committee.
Hi, my name is Delornina Moran. I am a board member and I chair bylaws, policy, and legislation.
Greetings, everyone. Herman Francis, neighborhood resident.
Good evening, Audrey De Jesus, board member, and I also am chair of the LGBTQ.
Good evening, my name is Stephanie. I'm a board member as well as the young adults chair.
Thank you, everyone. I think I have the most chairs in my committee, right?
Powerful committee.
Powerful committee. Okay, so no business. We would like to please welcome Wendy Bello and Norma Gonzalez.
This is number one committee in every community board. Zoning.
Where are they?
They're going to come in.
You said time is consensus and stick with the
Sorry, Madam Chair. Unfortunately, the two representatives that asked to be heard in reference to item number 3 are not in attendance.
If we have their cell phone numbers, should we text them and find out if they're coming tonight?
This was since February.
Yeah.
I just got
Yeah,
to
maybe they're on their way or so, and yes, they'll.
Would you accommodate them when you arrive?
Yeah, if they are coming, we'll accommodate them. Okay. Okay, the New York City Department of City Planning will do a presentation on the City of Yes housing opportunities. Brana Hemmings, Borough Planner, Adam Beckerman, Senior Planner, and Ted Winston, Bronx Planning Unit Director, will conduct a presentation this evening. With no further ado.
Madam Chair, just a reminder that our meeting is publicly broadcast on our YouTube channel, and so that we are going to probably have them at the head of the room so they can be seen on the camera for the YouTube channel and for the rest of the committee. Okay. So as we move, and someone else can control the
okay.
Step
here to the side.
All right.
Just give me a signal when you want to.
Thank you, Mr. Pimentel. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so
I know. It's
hi everyone.
Order.
Thank you so much for hosting me at your land use committee meeting tonight. As Paola very sweetly presented, opened with, my name is Brenna Hemmings. I'm from the New York City Department of City Planning. I'm joined by Adam Beckerman. He's actually from HPD, but he works in the Bronx Borough office. And then Ted Weinstein, right? Do you work? Okay.
Ted Weinstein should be joining.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure Bronx Borough office, right?
Yes, Bronx Borough.
Brenna, you think, how much time do you think it's fine for the presentation? 20, 25 minutes?
2025. There's
Okay.
a bunch of narrative I can just cut out,
Okay.
and because of the proposals, there's one that pertains more to you, and I was speaking to you a little bit about it, so I can breeze through some of this if
Okay.
that's a bit
So that way
helpful.
we have more time for questions. Okay, Jordan, Anthony will keep the time.
Okay,
Madam
perfect.
Chair, can I ask a question? Are we going to vote anything on this today?
It is a voting item.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so hi.
The time has started.
Okay, perfect. I'll be presenting on City of Yes for housing opportunity. It is the third and final citywide text amendment that DCP is putting out. It is related to housing and creating, being able to support a wide variety of different housing types throughout New York City. Next slide, please. So the tagline for this is a little bit of housing in every neighborhood. What we're doing is making some small changes to the zoning resolution, which hasn't been updated substantially since 1961, so that different types of housing that are very difficult to build will be easier to build nowadays in different neighborhoods. So there are low density neighborhoods and medium and higher density neighborhoods. this is what's considered a higher density neighborhood. I have a quick chart on like the residential districts of New York City that I can show. So I'm just breezing through some of this just for time's sake. Next slide, please. So one of the reasons we need more housing is because New York City is facing a severe housing shortage. The vacancy rate, a healthy vacancy rate is about 5% in New York City. Right now, it's for apartment rentals, it's 1.41%.
Wow.
And then for New York City, for the Bronx, it's even lower. It's under 1%. So, and then there's also the issue of being rent burdened. Rent burden means when you spend over 30% of your monthly income on rent. So it's over 50% in New York City. It's over 60% in the Bronx. And some of the figures that I'm going to be talking about, like here, and the vacancy rate figures were from the New York City Controller's Office. They had done a report on housing rates in New York City, so I'm just like sourcing from those. It's not there. I was just doing some research today because I wanted to have this ready in time enough. So back to the other slide, sir. As you can see here, most housing was actually was produced in New York City in the 1920s, and that was pretty much when most housing was produced. There's been like little bumps from time to time in the 1950s and 1960s, but it has been on a steady decline since. And when there's less housing options, that means there's less supply. It really drives up the demand, and that means prices are much higher. And when people don't have as many choices on where they can live and how they can live, it affects quality of life for everybody all around. Next slide, please. So new housing has been concentrated in just a few neighborhoods. So of the 59 community districts of New York City, about 10 have produced more housing than 49 other community districts combined. And I put a little circle around where Community District 1 is. And Community District 1 has been one of the community districts that has produced more housing than, let's say, like Williamsbridge or like Riverdale and other parts of the city. So part of what City of Yes for Housing Opportunity is trying to do is to remedy some of these zoning restrictions that make it very difficult to build in other parts of the city. Because, because when there's not a lot of housing and more housing is being generated in this neighborhood, it affects the quality of life for people here. And then people who want to live in other places, then the prices go up there, and it's just like a not good situation all around. So next slide, please. So this is the housing shortage has direct consequences on life in New York City. So people spend a lot longer commuting because they don't have as many choices on where they can live. People find it hard to escape dangerous situations because affordable options really aren't available. People who maybe move out of New York City for a little bit and then trying to come back have been priced out. And then, the worst case scenario, of course, is people who have been in the city, are stalwarts of their community, and then have been priced out because now they're on fixed budgets and the costs around them and the cost of living has risen. And of course, there's no way for them to remedy that. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is where DCP comes in. Zoning is one tool that we can use to address New York City's housing shortage, and it is one tool of like a larger puzzle. Like we are looking at some of the what New York State is doing at the budgetary level to increase and incentivize housing. And then DCP, the purpose of our agency is that we regulate zoning in New York City. So zoning can do a lot of things. It regulates the density and use of what is permitted to be built. I actually have some handouts for later for discussion just to help with some questions that might come up. So zoning can include requirements for like income restricted affordable housing. It can, it's within the city's control and it can do a lot of things. So zoning says this is residential, you can only have residential here. If you're commercial, you can only have commercial here. What zoning cannot do, however, is directly build or fund new housing. So that's why we're using City of Housing Opportunity as well as partnering with other agencies and maintaining good relationships with them so that housing can be built and that there can be things like tenant protections or support for home ownership models. Next slide, please. Okay, so this was the slide I wanted to focus on a little bit because I keep on talking about residential districts. So there are 10 residential districts in New York City. Low density is considered R1 to R5. And you can see throughout the screen, like as you go from left to right, it gets more dense and the buildings get a lot bigger. So multifamily would be 6 onwards, and multifamily also like on a lower side would be R3 and R5. Next slide, please. So our community district 1 has R6 and R7. So more medium density. I don't know why the chart just says low high. I'm like, it's low, medium, high. So the proposals that I will talk about, I'm going to breeze through some of the low density proposals because those don't really pertain to your district. I mean, I have slides on them and I'm happy to talk about them, but just because I know there are more questions about like universal affordability preference and maybe like parking mandates, I would prefer to spend more time on those. Next slide, please. So let me just make sure I get myself up to speed. Okay, so
being bamboozled.
Next
Yes,
part
we are.
is on how we can use zoning to address the housing crisis. So a little bit of housing everywhere. We're trying to look at different districts. So like low density, mid, high, they all have different requirements and they all have different loads to bear. And Community Board 1 has bared one of the more extensive of the 10 loads in terms of like generating housing. So through this citywide text amendment, we're looking to address the root causes of high housing costs, which a big one is supply, support job growth and New York City's economy, and also be more environmentally friendly by building more housing in areas with greater access to jobs and transit. Next slide, please. So these are the proposals as they stand. So the low density proposals are really about missing middle housing. So in the residential chart that I had shown before, it seems like there's kind of like a huge increase in terms of like R1 all the way to R10, like R1 are like very small houses, and then R10 are huge. So the low density proposals are meant to have like kind of a middle ground and look at a lot of zoning that can no longer be built but is very helpful to communities and is what they want. So town center zoning and transit-oriented development, as well as accessory dwelling units and district fixes. And then for medium and high density proposals, where I'll spend more time on, and I know people will probably have more questions about, those are ones that one would apply to this district. And then parking proposals, we are trying to end parking mandates for new housing, as well as enable conversion. So upping the year that buildings are eligible to be converted from like 1961 to about 1991, because a lot of buildings are grandfathered in if they're older than the zoning resolution from like 1961. And then lastly, infill, which canvases.
At the end.
So, and if I'm going too fast, please let me know.
No, you're going too fast.
Okay, so this is also a good map. It shows that this is Community District 1. You can see here, most of it is medium and high density. And the parts that aren't medium and high density, I believe, are, get it right, mixed use district, manufacturing, as well as residential. Not residential, yeah, industrial, thank you. So that's just a map to show that the medium and high density proposals would apply for this district. Next slide, please. Okay. So restrictive zoning, again, I'm just going to breeze through this. I put a little circle on the map just so people could see like where the where Community District 1 is. So you can see it's not a 1 or 2 family district, or it's not in the low density multifamily districts. It's in the medium to high density districts. Next slide, please. So town center zoning. So this square, this was an animation and it didn't come out well in PDF. So I just put like a little square on top of like what they're looking to do. So town center zoning is to build residential on top of like 1-story commercial. So that's like a laundry and a grocery store. What you would do is just build 2 to 4 stories of residential on top of it. So these aren't going to be like really high buildings. They're going to be quite modest and lower. Next slide, please. Transit-oriented development. This district is already in a the greater transit zone, so this would not be something really applicable to Community District 1. This would allow for modestly sized transit-oriented apartment buildings in low-density districts, and as I've said, this isn't a low-density district, so this isn't something that really applies to Community District 1. Next slide, please. Just shows that this is in gray, and there are no low-density districts in this community. This one is for 1 to 2 family homes, and it's for them to add an accessory dwelling unit. They're also called like mother-daughter units, granny flats, all pretty much the same thing. And the square box is where that's actually like the ADU that's been constructed. So it allows for, they have to be they're a maximum of about 800 square feet, and there's certain like setback and height restrictions, but that's how much, how big like ADUs. And they're meant to allow like multi-generational families to exist. And also like if homeowners have to pay for household expenses, sometimes it's just nice to have something on your own site. Okay, next one, please. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, could you go back? Sorry. So legalizing with the basement apart ADUs, they're going to be pretty strict about this and make sure they're not, well, for the coastal.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like you can't have one. It's just like if you're on like City Island, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you know if you're like within like the flood zone, then
Right.
that would not be good, as we've seen with like Idaho.
Right. Okay.
So did that answer?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you. And
No, thank you.
of course. This is to help homeowners. So these are what we call district fixes, and this is part of what I was talking about. Like some houses just have certain needs. Some homeowners have needs that their homes aren't able to manage. So this is trying to adjust the zoning so that it can meet the needs that they have. Next slide. Okay, so this is the one that applies to this community district. So we are calling this universal affordability preference. If you see anything written that says UAP, it's the same thing in terms for DCP. This would allow, this aims to make area median income work for New York City, because area median income is a federal standard, and it includes like Westchester County, which can very much skew like what is considered livable, like a livable rent in New York City. So what UAP is doing is it's taking advantage of income averaging so that it can include a mix of different incomes. And what it's also doing is it's like making through this, it's making buildings, increasing like buildings by about 20%. And I have a visual of this. It's an R6 district for like a church, for example, but it's incrementally increasing the amount of the building just so that you can take advantage of the range of different incomes. And UAP also makes it so that you can get more building, you can get more floor area, but the floor area that you get has to be permanently affordable housing. Next slide, please. Okay, so okay, so this map shows which districts have an existing senior housing, housing preference, senior housing preference stay, and through the UAP framework, all forms of affordable and supportive housing would be able to take advantage of the higher Florida area ratio already provided to affordable senior housing in the district. The darker parts on the map, there's going to be on one of the next slides, there's going to be like for this community district, because I know this map is a little bit difficult to see, but I just wanted to show in terms of like where this stacks for New York City. It's going to show where the darker parts will be allowed. Next slide, please. Okay, perfect. Right there. Perfect time. Okay, so this slide, as I've said, the darker part is what are some of the districts that don't allow for the senior housing preference today. And in these areas, the proposal would create new FARs to encourage the growth of affordable and supportive housing in every neighborhood. So this, you can see it's more towards, I'm not as familiar with like these parts, but those dark orange parts are what I was just talking about. Next slide, please. Okay, so UAP. This is what I was talking about a little bit before. So income averaging is what UAP, like that's one of the big things that UAP will do. Because right now, like the range is not that big. So it a lot of times leaves out a lot of people that would be really well served by some of the affordable housing that is provided. So through UAP, it's giving a bigger range. So you can say, okay, maybe I had this many, I had like maybe 5 for 60% and 3 for 30% and then 1 for 90. And you can mix it up so that maybe it's like 4 or 5 for 30% and then just get to the number that you need to by putting the amount of 60 and 90. So you're getting to serve more people who don't make as much and who aren't served by the current parameters of AMI. So this would replace voluntary inclusionary housing because as you can see, like it's kind of blacked out, it's kind of grayed out, but voluntary inclusionary housing didn't have income averaging, which kind of speaks to the heart of one of the problems with trying to, you have a development, you get all this extra floor area, it's amazing, but then you don't have the range to actually serve people who would be who would benefit from this. So UAP would replace that, but it would not replace mandatory inclusionary housing. That would continue to be mapped and existing affordability requirements would be in place. So just replacing BIH, but not MIH. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is an example. So R6, just like this district, a church located in an R6 district wants to build affordable housing today. But if they were to do that, they would only get an FAR of 3.0, regardless of whether they're developing market rate or affordable housing. And that would net them about like 35 units. If they were to use UAP, they would get an FAR of about 3.9, an increase in buildable area of about 30%, but the additional 0.9 FAR could only be used for affordable housing. And they would be able to build about 10 to 12 more units. Doesn't sound like a lot, but if that mentality, is spread around New York City, it can actually be a good increase for different populations that haven't been served by this averaging, this standard. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is without UAP and with UAP. How are we doing on time?
You have one minute, 30 seconds.
Okay, so this is UAP with and without. It's a couple feet higher. Next slide, please. So this would look to end parking mandates for new buildings and this would make it optional, so it's no longer a mandate. Parking is very difficult, very expensive to maintain, and a lot of times it can be the difference between a developer having a certain amount of units versus having another amount of units. Parking would not change on-street or off-street parking regulations, specifically for purely commercial and industrial buildings. Wouldn't enforce new parking restrictions or mandates. Wouldn't touch existing parking and would not force anyone to build it. Slide, please.
Okay, that makes sense.
So enable conversion of underused buildings. This is what I was talking about in terms of reusing or reconfiguring buildings from 1961. It would be to now 1991. Remove arbitrary rules on zoning because people might not necessarily want like a big house. Maybe they want to share like a couple apartments like a lot of people do nowadays, which then takes the stock away from families. So this would be an option for that route. And then lastly, this would eliminate barriers to contextual info. And I can go into that a little bit. And all of these would generate a little bit of housing in every neighborhood and also just different types of housing because not everyone has the same needs and not everyone's needs are met by systems that are currently in place. And that's it.
That's it.
Yep.
No more?
No.
You would add anything else?
No, I mean, that's it.
Chair's giving you prerogative.
No, that was it. That was my presentation. I can go over the timeline. I figured those would probably be questions, so.
Perfect time. So we'll do 2 rounds of questions, 3 minutes each, right? And I'm gonna ask you to ask a question, right? Who wants to go first in the first round? We have 1, 2. Go ahead.
Odio de Jesus. I'm more curious about, are they gonna help homeowners try to do the basements into an apartment because of the shortage of housing situations? Are they gonna talk about that in the future as
So
city planning?
you mean if they're gonna
Like a basement that has an exit and an entrance to come in and out
no,
as an apartment?
Oh, no, I get that. Did you mean like financially or just
No,
like
just that they could
They
legally
will
have
allow
some.
it.
They would allow it.
Oh yeah, basement apartments are allowed. Yeah, it's just the floodplain. It's just as if there's not like a flood risk. So there are certain standards. There's a group that's working on that now.
Okay,
Yeah.
flood risk. Okay.
Yeah. I can send stuff, but there are like standards. Like you can't build certain things. Like there's the we have our website Zola. There's the flood map where
Okay.
I think we go off of FEMA's maps. So like the preliminary maps are going to be the maps that we start using.
Mhm.
But yeah, so there's also like a task force. I think it's a task force. I know they're like technical words, but there's a group of government agencies that are looking at trying to get guidance together for that.
Thank you.
Hi, I have some questions on slide 22. It's just like a lot of acronyms that really we don't know what they mean. So what is voluntary inclusionary housing? Like, what is that? I know it's in gray and now we're getting something else, but I don't think I fully understand what is being removed and what it is being replaced with.
I got the wrong stuff.
22, 20.
This is it. This is the slide.
Yeah, no. It is. Sorry, I had it. I'm not as familiar with this, but I will definitely get back to you. Can I ask you about it a little bit?
Yeah, so, and I can jump into, voluntary inclusionary housing, different than MIH, which came later, was a program that allowed developers to get kind of the same concept as the UAP in the sense of like a FAR bonus for providing.
What is that thing?
Sorry, floor
area ratio.
So everything. So for example, every zoning district has an FAR. So like if it was a FAR of 2, it means you could build 2 stories on 100% of the lot, 4 stories on half the lot. So it's just a formula. So it's essentially a way we can calculate like density. So as you go up from R1 to R10, the FARs go up. So these programs, there's a base FAR, and what they allowed was that if you were providing affordable housing, you got a little bit more floor area. So in practical terms, let's say before you could build, 3 stories of housing, you would get a 4-story of housing, but it had to be affordable. Before, as this is saying, it was 80% AMI. The UAP, or the University Affordability Preference, is replacing it, and the new housing that's getting the FAR bonus has to income average to 60% AMI.
So I just wanted to know, so that means people who are building in our district, who are medium to high density, going forward, when they have these like lottery things, which tend to be affordable, they will now be on 60% AMI versus the 80% AMI. Did I catch it right?
So that's.
I wouldn't look at it that way, because what I am getting from the presentation, right? And Susan, you've been with developers also. What they're doing is like decreasing the level of affordability, right? So now you would have developments going up with more opportunity for that 60% AMI
And lower.
And lower, correct.
It's just giving more, instead of saying that, so the voluntary was that it would be at 80% of AMI. Now they're saying that we'll let you build bigger. However, it has to be for more people that are 60% and under through income averaging. So it's really giving an opportunity to build more for lesser income.
And so what I wanted to ask as a person who lives in this district is that, does that mean a taller building?
Yes.
So the reason why Community Board 1 has built so much is because we had so many empty lots, right? So
commercialization.
And so as we build, that means we get less physical space, and that means the only way is to go up, right? So and now we're getting rid of parking lots, which is, I understand, but I'm just trying to figure out how tall our buildings in this area are gonna be.
So I think the base is a 20% bonus. So I think there was a good image that kind of showed the difference.
So you have you said that the most of our buildings are within that R6, R7. So it'll be good for the members to understand how many floors in the R6, how many floors in the R7, which is the current zoning that we have. So with the new changes, that'll bring us to a different zoning, perhaps more R8, perhaps more R9. Would that be correct?
So the underlying zoning isn't changing.
Okay.
So it would still, you're in R6, you're in R7, you stay in R6, you stay in R7.
But with a 20%.
It would still be, because it's still like the underlying zoning. So we're not like changing like the.
So I guess that the question is, for R6 and R7, how many units can you build? And then taking from there, we know there's gonna be a little bit more space, more room to build. So, and you mentioned something about a 20% increase, right?
If I may, I think I can clear a little simpler. The idea behind
You said to divide yourself for the record.
Ted Weinstein, I'm from HPD, I'm director of Bronx Planning for HPD. The idea behind inclusionary housing is that you're going to get some kind of benefit from the city. The least you could do is make it affordable housing. So what's been happening is with the inclusionary, so for example, if you do a rezoning to allow you to then get more density. So that means you have to then also have what they call MIH, mandatory inclusionary housing, meaning a certain percentage of the units have to be under a certain income level. Now, then there were places where you didn't have to do it, but developers wanted to do it, and that's the voluntary inclusionary housing. This is just replacing that. It's just set up a different way. The UAP. So what they're saying, and you can't say exactly how many floors in the units, because what zoning really does, it doesn't really tell you how many floors in the units, it tells you how many square feet. So what's the square?
That's what I'm
So for example, if you do a narrow building, they're going to get a particular lot. You have the zoning would say you can build X amount of square feet of housing. If you do a narrow building, you can go a little higher. If you take up the entire lot for that building, then you have to be a little lower. You can't go that much. So what they're saying here with the UAP is, and this was really going to apply to like projects that are done on private property and private financing. And so if they're saying if you're going to do that and you want that bonus, then that's what you have to do. You have to make it on your certain income level. The income averaging part of this, I think that's a little confusing sometimes. It's simply saying a lot of times with various programs, you can't go above a certain percentage, a certain AMI, or you can go like 80% of the AMI or 50% of the AMI. And so what will happen here is, I think Gary did explain it right, that you could then take some units, instead of saying that all units have to be under a certain amount, you can say some can be under, but some can then be a little over the amount, as long as on average they're under the specified amount.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I think that answers your question.
I mean, they were saying they can't tell us how tall the building is going to be because it's based on space. I get it.
Okay, so now I want to allow another member to ask a question, and then we'll do another round if folks have other questions. So please.
Brenda Goodwin, board member. I'm a little confused. If you're making the buildings taller, are you considering more square footage in each unit? Or do you have a range that you're sticking to? Because your average range now for a one bedroom is anywhere from 550 square feet. And the amount of units that you're going to have on each floor. Some of these buildings now are coming up with 15, 18 units per floor. How much square footage are you giving these units? Because you're not including windows nowhere but in one room in that unit.
Okay, so don't think this is messing with saying that like apartments need to be a certain size.
Right.
So that's not something that like zoning is saying. It's just like you get a certain amount of,
Right.
like you were saying, you have a certain amount of square footage. So
Okay.
that's not something that's within the purview of
But
this.
even with zoning,
Mhm.
you're allowing the building to do something in the zoning area. There's zoning restrictions.
Mhm.
Okay. That building is building within that zoning restriction. I'm saying, are the apartments going to be adequate sizing?
Oh, okay.
Because we're sticking to a zone regulation. But how is the person going in there benefiting if the apartment, if they have to get rid of all their stuff and the apartment is only 550 square feet? If you got 18 apartments on one floor, those apartments are minimums. That's all I'm saying. Something that I know about the zoning. A lot of people are dealing with it now. Most people are getting rid of the furniture. You got seniors in studios, no bedrooms. So it's a little concerning. Progress is always good, but it's a little concerning something when you're taken away, because when you get those tall buildings, I lived in a building 23 stories, but at that time we had adequate square footing. That's all I'm saying. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. And that's something I do want to say, like there is an environmental review that they are doing for this.
Mhm.
So I can, once I don't know if it's completed as of yet, but I can send like the results or let the board know like when it's been done.
See about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Susan?
I have a question, but a little bit of a comment and a question, and Ted also. Some of the complaints that I'm getting from a lot of our residents, so we manage in this district probably about 7,000 or 8,000 units, and in the Bronx about 15,000. So I feel like I represent a large group, and people complain about the density now. So adding more density. So is this meant to make us more crowded here? Or is this really more of a citywide opportunity to say, hey, everyone doesn't have to build so big and so high in CB1. Okay, let's spread it around to someplace else. Is that what you're asking us to accept? Or because I'm not sure that I would feel like I'd be opposed to saying, let's make more density, because some of the flooding that has happened is not because we're in a floodplain, it's because the sewers can't handle the backup. We suffer that, so, I guess for me, seeing it more dense is a little bit, I want to take a step back, right? So, but if you're saying this is spreading it around the rest of the city and saying to the rest of the city, no, we're not just going to, build here. You have to take some of the burden, right? Because I feel like CP1 has taken a huge burden on building for all residents.
Yeah, no, so this would be a citywide thing, and I went through it kind of quickly, but there are proposals for like the lower density districts. So like that's where the accessory dwelling units come in, and that's where a lot of your questions were about like basement apartments in terms of like, to build and not have places for people to go, or for the quality of life of other people to, current residents to be affected as something. So this is throughout New York City, so all 59 community districts, but they all affect 59 community districts differently, because some are like a mix between low density and higher density. Some are primarily low density, some are high density. So it would affect all of New York City. And like these are like 20%, as has been said about like universal affordability preference, is a relatively small amount on top of like one thing. But then, like ADUs, it's like you can only have one ADU for each 1 to 2 family building. So it's not like ADUs are going to be like popping up everywhere. It's just some these zoning proposals are about giving people like the flexibility to do things. So it's not mandating like you have to build this. It's like, no, I mean, you can. This is the ability, because sometimes you look at the zoning resolution and it's like, I'm in this, I can't do this. So that's part of what this is meant to do. So yeah, very long answer to your question is like this would be for other districts as well.
Has there been any type of studies conducted to determine like approximately how many new units this district could gain?
There
the
ha-
proposal is implemented?
Yeah, there was actually, so there are extra slides. I cut a bunch of slides and there's some like additional like in the appendix. So there's one further in here about like parking. So, and this is also MAH, but the one before, please. Yeah. So this one, I thought maybe people had more questions about parking, which is fine. This one is about like parking examples that have been looked at in different parts of the U.S. and also in different parts of the country. So Canada, Mexico, other parts of the U.S., different parts of New York. So yeah, that there is a study though in terms of like the environmental review. I will share the map because I have it in one of my files, but it looks at like the range of like different units that like every part of New York City could generate.
Yeah, that'll be good to know because I think that to Susan's point, you know, I wonder like, you know, NIMBYism is real, right? You have people in Queens that they want to say, you know, we don't want to change the character
Right.
of our
Yes.
neighborhood, and then now you look at the South Bronx, and yes, all the new higher buildings, we want change, but at the same time, it's like we also want to make sure that because we're welcoming these new buildings, the quality of the life of those that are here, and there has to be like some time. You raised a very important point, Susan, because I'm wondering like, how are we working in conjunction with the Department of Sanitation to make sure that we're not putting up a building and then the sewage and the streets and this and that.
All you gotta do is look at Queens, where they put them houses
How are
out
we
there,
gonna
they
be
ain't
able
putting no
to
drainage. I remember.
right? So
no,
that's a very valid point. So if you can share any information on that, and also like we know they have been working on the Bruckner Boulevard for ages, for many years, like the traffic and the transportation, and the 6 train is already crowded and the 4-5 train is worse. So, you know, what are some of those alternatives? And I know they're doing some of the MTA Metro North stations, but
in other parts of the Bronx.
So it'll be good to know, to see the city revamping those services that are so necessary.
No, totally. And I know I keep on talking about like the environmental review, but I think in terms of like a lot of the questions that are coming up, like they do answer this, like, you know, just looking at like the demand on like different parts of the city. And part of what these proposals are meant to do is like keep the character of neighborhoods. So, you know, so you don't have like 20 stories. So like if you're an R6, you're not going from like an R6 to like an R10. Because as you can see, like it's quite a big change in density, and that is what can fundamentally change neighborhoods and, you know, like mess with the character, as well as like, as you're saying, like the strain on resources that are involved.
Right.
So like R5, like you're not jumping from like a low density to like a high density.
Well, we saw that happening right there in the South Bronx, right? And I'm talking about
the rezoning,
the Bruckner in that area. I don't know if
The waterfront.
I don't know if it was rezoned, but that definitely changed. Like 3
Oh.
years ago,
My
it was
God.
completely different. So we
Yeah.
know the tall buildings are coming.
Totally.
We know they're coming, right? But
Talking about Willis Avenue, after that, all those luxury
Yeah,
houses.
it's
Bruckner,
over.
yeah, the
Yeah.
waterfront.
Yeah, the waterfront.
the Dream Carter,
Should've been
the
that
Dream
meeting
Charter.
30 years
Yeah,
ago. You
And-
get the
and
questions asked.
I don't know in what part of all of the City of Yes proposals we've seen anything about like public spaces, playgrounds, you know, rehabilitating parks and doing boardwalks so people can actually enjoy the environment.
Forget about
Well, that's why we're reclaiming the
it.
waterfront.
Not part of the agenda.
Yeah, and he's been so good at the computer. Thank you.
I just have 2 quick questions. The first to Ms. Goodwin's, a follow-up to Ms. Goodwin's question. What is the average or minimum for, maybe HPD can answer this, for a studio apartment for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, what is the minimum square footage that is fine? What's the square footage for that they're mandated to build?
Average?
I guess that the question is the city giving developers some type of mandate or recommendations on the size per unit?
Right.
They are.
Wait for us to more than.
Yeah, thank you, Ted.
If you use our programs, financing programs, to build buildings, then we do have guidelines on each type of apartment.
Okay.
Range.
That's the guideline.
They are actually slightly larger than what the building department requires. But I will give you like, so for a studio, the range is between 350 and 450.
Okay.
So one bedroom, between 500 and 550. For a two bedroom, 650 to 725. Three bedroom, 850 to 950. So there's a range of four bedrooms.
Okay. Thank you
So
so
those are
much.
the ranges. Now, a particular unit might be a little less, a little more, if it's absolutely necessary, but basically, that means that the units of those different bedroom counts have to fall within the.
Thank you.
Just
And your second
the second one is just for clarification, the FAR restriction. So my understanding is that when you have a lot, let's say I think R7 is zoned for at 15 stories is the maximum.
Okay.
So the higher you go, the more you have to recess the building as you get higher. So if you change the rule around FAR, would that mean that you don't have to recess as much as you go up?
The height and setback, I believe there is a modification to the height and setback rules. I will get back to you about that. I also, as a quick thing, I didn't print out that many of them, but this was a little example of like density in terms of like the square footage, and I feel like that question has come up a little bit, like in terms of it's the square footage. Like it doesn't all have to be like, in one thing. Yeah, you can go back, but of course then there are, certain limits to that. But I will,
Okay, but with this, ideally it would change.
Yeah, there would be. I'm pretty sure there would be a modification, but I will find out and get back to you.
Thank you.
I have a question for, I guess, for city planning and for HPD. What are we doing with regards to conducting an environmental assessment for buildings that we have in the Bronx, perhaps those older buildings? I think you're familiar with the partial collapse of Billingsley Terrace in Morris Park. There was a lot of rain during those days, and then a building that was, where there were numerous violations being reported, right? That went unobserved, I guess, with no consequences. And then we saw that building collapsing. We have a lot of old buildings, especially in this district as well. So what are we doing about, looking at those buildings that are old, that have numerous violations, and trying to make sure that landlords are doing their fair share to make sure that those remain in good conditions?
The buildings department and HPD are two separate agencies. The buildings department enforces the building code. HPD enforces the housing maintenance code. So the building department responsible for structure, things like that. Our code enforcement is for maintenance. You actually provide services and maintain property. Yes, we're pointing out there were a lot of buildings in the Bronx that were built in the 1920s. There's one slide I think that shows big tall column in the 1920s, and then it's much less since then.
This one, thank you.
Some buildings, for example, there's a law that they have to look at the outside of the buildings. A lot of the scaffolding that you see up, around the buildings, of course, they're checking the scaffolding. But these said also people see problems, they should put them. Now, if our inspectors are there, if let's say somebody complains they don't have heat, and one of our inspectors comes to look at that, if he also sees that there's a crack in the wall that looks like it works, then he can report that. But it's actually the building department that would be checking for things like that.
Yeah, because if we are saying now that within this new plan, we will allow the construction of units on top of commercial spaces, like there's going to be new construction on top of old buildings, right? And who knows?
That owner and developer would have to file with the building department, and the building department has to
And that's actually a really good point that I didn't bring up. We're not superseding any other agency. So if the buildings department's role is not being taken away, HPD's role isn't being taken away, fire department, so on and so forth. So this is purely planning. Zoning. So it would still have to, conform to, as Ted's saying, like the standards that DOB has and, FDNY, all of those different things. So I was thinking that. Yeah. Yes.
Will this plan be?
Please speak up.
Oh, sorry. Will this plan be able to be implemented in the buildings that's currently being built now? Because there's a lot of buildings that's being built now, so that won't be something else.
When would it be effective?
Opposed to building on top of buildings, you guys can't work with people that are making like HPD now.
So you're talking about buildings that have been constructed, or buildings that are in the process of
being construction and are basically in lottery. There's a lot of apartments in Housing Connect that are just in lottery and standstill, and they're just there, just being weighted in with those actual buildings.
So this, thank you for that question. This would be for new construction and would be post like fall of this year, because this is part of the public review process to community boards. So the clock began last Monday, and we're all of us going out to like community boards. I have these lovely individuals from HPD with me, and we're presenting to community boards to see if we can answer your questions so that you can, submit a vote for this. So this is part of the public review process. So this is for later, like post fall for this, and it wouldn't be retroactive.
Okay, so any buildings that are being built, like the thousands of them, that's probably going to take over before anymore. It's not going to have nothing to do with it.
No, and it's also like there are different, like being built can mean like different things sometimes, because like being built can mean like you have the permits, or like being built can mean like,
But more of Housing Connect.
Oh, okay.
Those are the more affordable. This is what we really base it on.
So you're asking about like
more
the
Housing
ones,
Connect,
okay.
the ones that we believe the 60% on AMI, because that's really what we're speaking on. So more on those.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a lot of buildings that's being built, like one down the block from my house, which is only $5,000 and up that you can move in there, and that's ridiculous to me. That's just absurd.
That's
legit $5,000.
That's mortgage money, yeah.
For these apartments,
Yeah.
that's legit
More
down the
than
block from my
mortgage.
house.
That's two mortgage
Well,
money.
New York City
Okay.
second most
Okay,
expensive
order.
city in the world.
We're wrapping up our second round of questions. One more. I think you asked two questions already. One more question.
It's real quick.
Two, and then if we have time, we'll take one more, and that's it.
What about NYCHA? NYCHA has a lot of extra space in their grounds. Would that be a consideration
So
for the rezoning?
That was something I kind of sped through a little bit. It's one of the additional proposals. It's for infill. It's for like large scale campuses. So what it's looking to do, and this was actually something I think that came up at zoning for economic opportunity before, but trying to reconcile the zoning so that, like, let's say you have like a big space, NYCHA needs a little bit more money. It can, potentially build on it and have it be infill so that it can, whatever built there can like serve the needs of like people that are currently there.
Thank you.
So I have a question in regards to slide number 28. So I hear about these new builds. There was an article recently, I think in the fall, that talks about the new affordable housing that was created were 1 bedrooms. And that's obviously people have families and they weren't able to find stuff. I see that you guys will now legalize small and shared apartments. For a lot of people here, we would be like, the apartments are already small. So when you're legalizing small, how small are you talking about when a studio can be 350 to 400? And that's concerning because as the new builds, are they building for families? And are those going to be part of the UAP? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if the 20% is just the studios, then, you're not going to be that helpful for people. And so there's a concern about, I know there's no mandates, right? Because a lot of these developments are private developments. But if we're giving them incentives, which is what the UAP is incentive, then can we make recommendation as to the unit size? You see what I mean? If you're going 20% up, can't be all studios.
So the question, because you're asking about that one, so that is separate from universal affordability preference.
Well, I just want to pause. then if a developer makes a new building, makes a
So-
building, he, she, or they, whoever the developer is, could not make a small unit or a shared unit?
So it depends on if it's what's considered
How much
as of right.
profit?
So if it's as of right, it currently fits within the zoning resolution and the current zoning. So it doesn't come to agencies.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't come to DCP or Board of Standards and Appeals.
Yeah, as of right.
So if it's as of right, it's as of right. Like it fits within the zoning what's currently allowed zoning wise. So we don't have like any input.
Can I
Yes.
make, I'm sorry.
Question.
Madam Chair, may I make one
I think
comment?
we have one, and yes,
Okay.
Susan, you can make your
So
comment.
wait, so let me get to your part.
She
So
hasn't finished.
you're asking for, okay, so that's that. With this, since this is separate from UAP, I think this is more about like different types of housing. So like SROs that used to exist. Like a lot of the zoning resolution was written in, frankly, a very discriminatory time, and it was made so that it would restrict certain people from living in certain parts of the city.
Right.
So there was this prejudice against people that lived in SROs. But as we've seen, like there are some people like that is kind of what they're doing now, or that's currently what could work for like, different types of housing. So that's what this is more about, just like different types of housing, because not everyone wants like an ADU or, like a studio apartment. Some people are like, this type of housing works for me. So that's what this is. I'm going to check about, because you're asking if developer builds this, can you have like any control over how big the units are, right?
I just didn't know if developers were building this, I guess. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I mean, this was to re-legalize. So right now they're not allowed.
No, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And we
A
can
question.
follow up. Okay. We have one more question, one comment.
I think there's no incentive for a developer. It's the number of apartments, right? So there's no incentive to build a 2-bedroom that's 1,000 square feet.
Right.
So I wonder if there's something that we can maybe add, maybe on some of that. I don't know if Ted is smiling over there. Can we, because that is a big complaint. You get a family of 4 and 750 square feet. I mean, it's tight, it's small. But we don't give incentive. Maybe the city can, maybe the city can give for that extra 20%. Could the incentive be, you know what? We'll put up more apartments, but maybe instead of an extra, in your example, an extra 10, where you moved, the 35 apartments, the extra 10 to 12, you moved it from a 3 FAR to a 3.9. So it's giving another 10 apartments. But maybe instead of, like she said, which I agree with, don't give me 10 more studios, because I need some 3 bedrooms. And believe it or not, I need some 4 bedrooms.
We have, and we've had in this city, severe affordable housing crisis.
I know.
And so the intent, I know you understand.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
The intent has been, for many years now, under various administrations, to try to produce as many new units as possible. Well, that way, if somebody can move into a unit, which may not be as large as they would like, but they're better than living in a shelter.
That's what they do.
That has been, wherever it is, in City Hall, that has been the policy.
Did somebody make a comment?
In fact, when we provide financing to supplement construction costs of those buildings, that subsidy is on a per unit basis.
Right.
And in fact, we have a requirement, if they get any money from us, that a certain percentage of the units have to be at least 2 bedrooms. Years back, it had to be a certain amount of 2s and a certain amount of 3s. But the census is showing that more and more households in New York are small.
Mm-hmm.
The average size of a household in New York City is 2 point something feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, it's absolutely need 3 bedrooms and probably even more because a lot of families. That's not what the numbers are showing in terms of getting, providing again as much new housing as possible.
I have a question for
so
Ted.
one moment, please. How much time do we have? Okay, so we have many more questions. What I would like from my committee members, I think everyone had an opportunity. We had 2 rounds of questions. We can follow up. I mean, I was expecting a lot of questions, given how dense the presentation is and the technical terms, but we could stay here forever, and there's gonna be always more questions.
The solution is very simple.
But we have an opportunity during the general board meeting, and we also have an opportunity to follow up with the city with city planning. I would like to give the opportunity to Ted, since we have you here. I don't think that happens so often, right?
Your team,
Right?
not ours. He was here all the time.
So
Thank you.
so
He spent
thank you.
thousands.
You know, for me it's the first
Almost
time.
30
So
years.
very grateful. Brenna and I went to school together. So when we went to school, they told us that zoning is one of the very few tools that the city has to make change, right? And I, you can tell us, when was the last time that the city actually embarked on a proposal that touched on commercial, residential, and so many aspects, right? With this city of yes, I think you don't see that every 5 years. It takes quite a few years to do this type of proposal. So what I would like to hear from you, Ted, it's one or 2 minutes. Why do you think this is a good proposal? Why should we care about it? Why do you think it's good? And if you can also give us some of the criticism that you think, you know what, this is where it falls short, we will appreciate it.
It's being done, well, the last time there was something done, like, I don't know, 10 years ago for the
That's what I'm thinking.
but that's when they reduced some of the parking requirements and the other things as well. It's being done because this administration, when they came in, said that something has to be done. The numbers are getting worse. And even before the asylum seekers coming, that the number of people in shelters was increasing. We have a severe affordable housing. And that's the other thing. We don't just have a housing crisis. We have a severe affordable housing crisis. And if you can afford $5,000 a month, you don't have a problem. You can find something. But if you can only afford $1,500 a month, you have a problem.
See, that's the problem
So
right
they talk about the vacancy rate.
there. No, don't interrupt me, man. Y'all need to stop playing with each other.
Last month it came out that every 3 years the city does a survey of census to really find a lot of the real nuts and bolts of what's going on in housing. And the vacancy rate in New York now is only 1.4%. That means at any given time, only 1.4% of all of the units is vacant and available.
Yeah, right.
Usually 3-4%. In many years it's over 5%. And so that means it's just gotten worse. And so the answer really is that at this point, every administration tries to do what they can. This administration maybe is a little more bold about trying to make more changes. And these changes, they're no one of them is really dramatic. You know, there's a slogan, you may have said this before. The slogan of all of this is a little bit more in each neighborhood. That if each neighborhood does
That's fair.
about why should it be one?
That was my point.
Exactly.
Spread out.
And
Exactly.
without question, you know, we worked on these together a lot of these projects.
Board one close to
So,
George Washington Bridge
You know,
and the airport.
people, we have, and I'll just
How many people
there's
allowed
gonna be
in the
more
city
housing
apartment?
done on Powers. You know, exactly what it's talking about.
City said a bunch of living.
About 361
How many
Powers.
people can live
You
in
know,
the
where the
city?
Pat Reagan is over on.
It made they could fit in there.
Where the auto walks used to be, there's gonna be housing built there.
I'll give you a hard story when you finish.
You as well. So there's going to be more housing in this district. You know, without this, what really we hope has to happen is that because of these changes, there'll be more of an incentive and it'll be easier for developers to do more housing in other districts as well. If they take advantage of this in District 1, terrific. You know, more units. But what it's really designed to do is try to increase the number of housing units that are being built in every neighborhood.
Thank you, Ted.
Hold one
Okay,
more, please.
one moment, please. Thank you. So we had one more question
Just one.
and one more question.
What is the law about how many people can live in a studio apartment?
Two.
I don't know if it's a law, but our policy is always 2 people.
Because I think there is a law. That's what I would like to get the specs on that. Because I know when they have those fires and things, and they always say it was too many people inside those units. Because on the TV recently, there's a woman with 5 kids in a one-bedroom apartment, and they was publicizing it. So that's why I threw the question to me.
See, again, if someone is using financing from our program,
Mhm.
see, if the developer on his own, wants to go to a bank,
Right.
Get $20 million to build a building, doesn't use HVAC, doesn't use the city
Right.
hall, as long as it meets zoning, they can do that.
Okay.
If they want to use our program to get cheaper money,
Okay.
then every single unit that gets built has to meet our requirements.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there a cap in how many private like developers could build, and where they like not allowing like low incomes in the building, like to take over? Because I noticed that everybody that is building these private affordable are only like private, nothing that is serving low income, doesn't it?
If you own a property,
Thank
you
you.
get the money to build on it, and you meet the zoning requirements, whatever they are,
That's a right.
Yeah.
you can do it.
Do whatever you want.
And there's no cap.
No.
Nope.
Down next to the Deegan, the Deegan and the river.
Yeah.
it's up on 138th Street. All those new buildings that have been built, in that area there, none of them, not one of them, is in our program.
Thank you.
Okay. Well,
Well, see, that goes to my heart.
one
My heart
moment,
goes
one moment, and thank you for your behavior. Thank you. We want to make sure that we answered all that the city department, city planning department, and HPD answered all the most pressing questions.
Yes.
And have we accomplished that?
And I
Nope.
have to follow up on
Okay.
it.
No.
We can definitely do follow up. There's going to be more opportunities. So what I would encourage everyone to do is to actually go through the presentation. I think it's very exciting. And I think there's some terms there that, we have to get familiar with, because that's going to be, the daily, especially for this committee, right? So go through the presentation. And if we wanted to, for the general board presentation, we could have some questions prepared. Right?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So we could do that, and we can, if we have some questions and we share those with Brianna and the team, they could even answer those prior to the meeting, to the general board meeting. So that way we give the other attendees the opportunity to ask their questions. Right? Now, this is the time where we take a vote. No,
I before you did that, I actually did want to say that if there are parts of this that you have problems with, we have like a worksheet. We have a worksheet, and you can go by proposal. So let's say the UAP, your concern is, I don't think it's has enough of a range, or I don't think it should be, instead of being 20%, maybe 10%. So I have a worksheet here that you can all work collaboratively on, and use that to work out some document some of these concerns. They don't want you to be like, oh, yes or no, because it's you can say with conditions, always say with conditions, because you do have concerns, and those were for the last citywide text amendment. Those were taken in from other community boards, and there were changes made to some aspects of the 18 proposals that we had for that last one.
Okay.
So I do have some worksheets here, and I did want to say that, not to supersede you, Chair, but I did just want to say that because I didn't necessarily want to force a vote if y'all have tons of questions, and I want to make sure that we answer all of them, even if sometimes the answers aren't as cool as I wish they could be.
Yeah, that'll be helpful, Brianna.
So I have them right here.
And thank you for the
That's what I
presentation.
was saying. You can always put in a stipulation if you're not
I
clear
know, that's too
at
much.
the committee
Yeah,
level.
I remember.
You see what I'm saying? You're not clear.
They made the presentation 30 years ago to build 85,000
We should talk.
apartments from 167 feet along the river
It's the
front
same
all the way over to
Oh, it's the
Hunts
same
Point.
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
I
sitting
just
there
gave
listening
copies
to
because I
that
was
mess.
I figured it was
Mr.
Yeah.
Francis, you had a question or a comment before we vote?
Oh, yes. I got a question. I got a question.
Order.
It's the same one. I just gave multiple copies. I didn't know how many people were going to be here, and this was a last minute thought of mine.
Oh,
So this is also online, and I can send a link.
Yes.
But I thought physical
and I can take a
might be
picture
good.
if you want.
I have a question.
Yeah,
That would be
I'll-
great,
I'll share it with
Stephen.
you, yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question. I attended a presentation about 30 years ago over there at Community Board 4, and they made off the Grand Concourse. And the presentation about the 85,000 apartments they were building from 167th Street to go around the waterfront up to Hunts Point. Now I'm sitting there listening to it. Same thing. It wasn't me. Well, one of the listeners, what you talking about affordable housing? Affordable housing for whom? Well, it should be low income housing, number one. Because New York City is the second most expensive city in the world to live in. Hong Kong is number one. And this mess got started back in the 20s when the Guardians started building public housing, which the city wants to get out of. One reason that stops the city from getting out of public housing, they do not know what to do with the workforce. But anyway, the city workers could not afford the rent, which is why they made the Guardian build public housing, put the city workers in there. Now, my question to them when they build them talking about building them 85 apartments along the waterfront, if just half those apartments have one child, how many schools are you going to build and the public transportation and parking facilities? I'm still waiting for an answer. Cause I know what they do. When I sit on that school board, they wait to the number of children sign up in September. Because my mother told me when they put up passing houses in 1950, the first project in Bronx, Rose II. It took them 4 years of demonstration before they put up PSAT in 1954. And we're going back and making the same mistakes today. Because I remember when I sat there, because when they built up Co-op City, I remember that quite well. They were supposed to extend the number 6 line into Co-op City. They never did that. I sat there and host those 25 years ago to the this is tri-state presentation about the Second Avenue subway. It was going to come up to the Bronx, make 3 stops in Co-op City, 1 stop in Mount Vernon. The last stop was going to be in White Plains. So I said, I believe when I see them put a shovel in the ground. Next thing I heard, it got scaled back to 126th Street. Then it got scaled back to 96th Street. What we're talking about here is low-income housing. Now, take a map of New York City and take a good look at it, because this mess came up 50 years ago. Bronx is the only county connected to the mainland. The rest of the city is islands. You got Long Island, that's 4 counties. Staten Island and Manhattan, where you build high. I go down there. And every time I get on that train going uptown to Co-op City and see the Cross Bronx Expressway, it's the most heavy travel highway in the United States. And the traffic is backed up going to the George Washington Bridge, opened up in 1931. And this country, right here, United States number, can rebuild Europe and parts of Asia with the Marshall Plan and guarantee no mortgages in Levittown after World War II, when my ancestors couldn't get a house in there on their mortgages. The money is there. You're going to bring some houses in here, put them for low-income houses. That's what you need here, because people can't make no money. And when you do that, improve the transportation system. Outside that, I know why they want to put it here, because of the George Washington Bridge and the airport.
Okay.
That's the only reason why they want to put it here. So y'all go ahead and mess with it, baby. Because the people who own this real estate don't even live here. They live outside the city.
I think you had a point, Brianna. If you have any comments on that, so that way we can.
I didn't. The question was about a.
Okay, who's going to benefit from this?
No. It was about a development.
Okay, who's going to benefit?
No. His question was.
Who's going to benefit from the building of these buildings, these apartment buildings? Who's going to benefit from
I think his question wasn't listening to everything. What we also mentioned here, like all of the infrastructure that it takes to make sure that once we have new developments, we have new schools, we have transportation, we have other infrastructure that the residents will need.
But who's going to benefit from the building in this neighborhood?
Can I make a call to order?
Yes. So that is something that was looked at. I keep on talking about this environmental review. I have the questions that you all have. So of course, strain on resources. So I will find answers and get them to you. And then I know that there was a question about how many units, how many housing units, dwelling units do we expect, maybe each district to generate? So, yeah.
Okay.
I will.
Thank you. Ms. Hammonds, I want to say one thing before you go, and Ted. This community board always had a very large concern and this as far as text amendment about not having parking spaces equal to the amount of units being kept. And I think it is unfortunate that in this text amendment that it is taken not to make that a priority. that parking matches the units being capped. If we want to create density, create more units, we have to understand that more people are going to need parking, especially with congestion pricing. When less people will be moving their cars to go up or down into Manhattan, that is a concerning piece to me. So to add that part of, to say that would change and make it part of this text amendment to happen and take away parking, I think it is a disservice to this district, being the most heavily densely populated district in the borough, just for that to happen. And so while it is up to the members to make that determination, I know that parking is always and has been for years. Since I was a resident, always been a resident, and now as a district manager, that is something that is not being considered as a priority. And so to bring that to the board, it says that we have not heard what the board's been saying for years.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
That is something, please let that go, not let that go, but please write it down, because parking is something that the entire city has given us their thoughts about.
Yes.
So, if you have thoughts about it, please let us know. And yeah, no, thank you so much for that. And thank you for giving me your time and for all your questions.
Thank you, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you,
One thing
Brianna.
to think about. If housing is so important, how come you letting the jail being built down the block? If housing is so important.
Okay, we need 30 seconds to figure something out here. I'm going to ask the room to be quiet so that Anthony can explain.
So, Madam Chair, the committee will vote on this issue, and it will either say yay, nay, abstain, and if there are conditions in your vote. Yay, nay, abstain, or there are conditions in your vote.
And they can say their conditions.
Your conditions, right? So the clerk has and you have worksheets that talk about what your conditions can be on individual proposals. So if you look at the proposals that are in this plan, it will show you multiple different proposals and if there are yay, nay, right, but it would be only in one vote. So you could vote yes, but I vote no on this, et cetera, or yay, or whatever, and then your conditions for each of the part of the plans.
Is that happening right now?
That is happening now.
Well, that's not enough time.
Why
We
not?
haven't even had a discussion amongst ourselves about what we heard.
Then you can make a motion to the chair to hold it over.
No, I'll make a motion back there right now. Can you put
I want to answer the question.
So I want to know what are the alternatives, right?
If you wish not to vote on this plan, then you can make it.
Let's take the vote now and get out the way.
Mr. Francis.
I'll probably go ahead.
Mr. Francis, please.
If you vote not to make this come out of committee, then the committee can make a determination. The chair can decide to honor that motion if you decide to hold over to the full board and to allow us more time to mold it over or whatever that is. That is up to the committee to make a determination. So you can vote yay, nay, or if there are.
Take a vote to see if we vote.
So one thing, right?
I'll stop talking to the board members. Still talk. I will over talk anyone.
So one moment, please. I want to make sure that we're understanding what Anthony is saying, and I'm going to ask you to please respect Anthony and the amazing work that the team does to make sure that we are following the protocols and the procedure here. We had a presentation. It was a dense presentation with a lot of information. Folks had the opportunity to ask the most pressing questions, and I think that there's a lot of clarity on what was discussed. However, Anthony, you can correct me if I am wrong to make sure that I want to hear everyone. So if we were to vote out of the committee, right? If folks were to vote now, by the time we have the full board meeting, we are making a recommendation as a committee, right? We make our recommendation whether we say yes or no, and then in the full board, this is where we're actually going to take a vote to make the final word on what community board says on this presentation, correct?
Right. So if I can answer,
Yes.
you can vote. It could be a motion to not let this to say this over. The committee can make that vote, and then it could be. Can make that motion, and motion could be seconded, and then it could be discussion of motion, and the chair will call the vote on that motion. If it votes to leave out of the committee, then you could vote on. If it went out of the committee, how you vote for it to leave in the committee under your vote. Those are the options.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
So, and we have,
and then this goes before the full board for the last Thursday of the month for the full board meeting.
For the full board, where we have another opportunity to ask questions and for the full board to vote. Now, if we don't vote, if we say no here, we don't want to vote, we don't want to execute this vote now, what happened? Do city planning and HPD have to come back and make a presentation to this same group, or
it goes to it is we make a presentation that it is not the committee decided not to let it leave out of committee. Stops.
Okay. How many people do not? Is it allowed to ask? No. Okay. No. I'm just asking if to get a general.
That's be a motion.
But where's the discussion on the motion? Someone needs to
Discussion
say.
of motion happens after it's second.
Okay, so you made the motion.
No, I cannot make. I'm not a board member. Okay. It is up to you.
Yeah, we have
to
it.
make that decision.
Right. So I just wanna.
There needs to be a motion so we can have a discussion. So we should put our hands down until there's a motion.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Everybody has to put their hands down.
Because there's no motion right now.
Right? The motion right now would be, but the motion would be to vote, right? And there can be a motion to discuss.
Tama, we're confused. I'm sorry, we're confused, Madam Chair.
One moment. I'm trying to get more clarity, right? Because I see some people are ready to vote, others feel that this needs to be further discussed, right? So I just want to get the procedure right for us. Anthony, please, one moment. Yes.
So the motion, if there's a motion, whatever the motion is, it has to be seconded. The motion could be either
yes or no.
I'm not going to overtalk you, Mr. President.
I apologize for that.
Thank you.
The motion could be whatever the motion is for. The motion could be to hold the vote, and if it's seconded, and then it is discussion on the motion, and then the chair decides how much the discussion of the motion goes, and then that could be carried. If the motion is to proceed with the vote, then the vote can be seconded, and then it could be, and then the discussion of that motion. I am not calling a motion.
Okay, just call a motion.
Okay, one moment. We have to be more patient, right? I think Anthony explained it very well. If you wanted to call a motion so we hold the vote, you can do that. So if someone seconds the motion, then we discuss the motion. If no one seconds the motion, then we make another motion to take a vote on the proposal. Those are the two alternatives on the table. And I want to acknowledge the presence of our chair. You had a comment.
No,
go ahead.
I was going to say that we can make the motion to hold off. I think this is a deep plan that we have to look deeply into. This is the first time we're seeing it. And so it's going to take us time to take a deep dive into what the plan is really about. So it is something that...
I also want to make sure that we are taking into consideration the work and the thought and the time of everybody in this committee, right? So we also came here understanding that there would be a vote on a proposal. So again, two proposals. We can hold the vote or we can vote to get this out of the committee, right? I want to make sure that we're respecting everyone's time and productivity. Okay.
I make a proposal.
Delornina Moore, make a motion to hold a vote.
No, to hold the vote.
To hold the vote.
Yes, because hold a vote is a different thing. Okay, who seconds that motion?
Because I got to be honest. I really am going to look forward to the link that you're going to send, and I would like to at least read those proposals over.
So discussion on the motion. I think you went a little bit ahead on, right?
I'm going to second the motion.
Second the motion. Discussion on the motion. We have time to discuss.
Yes.
I want to take another person. You had your hand
up. Madam Chair, do you want to time this?
Yes, sure.
So how much time will we provide?
Should we say 5 minutes?
That's up to you.
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? No, 5 minutes to each person.
So how much?
5 minutes each person. A discussion, 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
There's a discussion on it?
We'll make sure. We have 5 minutes for this discussion. Please go ahead.
Let's hold the vote. I want to move this agenda along because we have people that are waiting. So, and then we have a chance to discuss amongst ourselves. So
Okay,
yes.
can you repeat that? 'Cause I think you lost.
No,
You-
I am
Uh-huh.
in favor of this motion simply because
Mhm.
we have an agenda that we have to get to.
Okay,
And
so
we
you're
gotta move
also
along.
in favor of holding the
Holding,
vote?
yes, yes.
Okay, Susan?
Can I ask a question? When does the city need to know what the vote is? What timing do we have from the
So
city?
this would be the first week of July, so right before you all break for summer. We got time for it.
Thank you, Brenna.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the learning?
So what I want to say is that this document, the raw document, is 1,386 pages. And I want you to know that DCP, when they did City of Yes of Economic Opportunity, this Community Board 11 from East Harlem, they hired an expert to really go through the raw data and really summarize it so they could have a full perspective of what they were voting on. And when I read that document and represented our community board at the borough president's office, I was really surprised about the information we did not know when we held a vote. And if we are going to represent the whole entire community board one, I want our vote to be very thorough and not just based on a presentation that I greatly appreciate, but cannot fully capture 1,386 pages of changes to our zoning law. So therefore, I really think we have a capture of what is going on, but I do not think we have the full picture of what's going on. Additionally, the way they broke it down allowed us to really talk about every portion of it, because even this presentation has so many subsections for us to vote on the parking, but maybe we like the UAP. So that is a very minute way of looking at this. And to rush a vote, to me, feels beyond irresponsible, despite, so if we want to honor people's time and we are going to take a time, we want to do it right. I want you to know that the 59 community boards who voted on City of Yes Economic Opportunities, almost 50% of them voted no. Because when you look past the veil, there's a lot going on. And I don't feel like we know what's going on. I really don't. And I do not feel comfortable basing my presentation solely on what DCP has presented. They are great people, but we might need more information for us who actually live in this community, walk on these sidewalks, takes this train, and see the trash that's piling up on a daily basis.
Yes,
sanitation and other things like that.
Yes,
and so I just can't believe this.
Thanks, Delaney.
Yes,
So I have a question. So what could be the alternative for us? Let's say if we vote to hold the vote, as Delaney was saying, there's a community board that hires some experts. We have the Bronx Borough Planning Director here. What are our alternatives to even discuss this internally, like to spend more time discussing it internally?
So once we finish with the discussion of this vote, we can talk about.
We
like,
can talk
what
about those
yeah.
alternatives.
So we got that discussion, and I think, are we good? Can
Yes.
we pass this motion?
Okay.
Well, basically, what you can do
Okay,
right
so
now.
now can we take a vote on the motion to hold the vote? Are we ready?
I make a motion so we can vote.
Okay.
Call the question.
No, we don't.
Call the question.
The
I
motion's
call
already
the
on the
motion to
floor.
call the question. Call the question.
I think so. Yes. we
Y'all
have to
about
hold
to
the
get
vote.
bamboozled and
Yeah.
don't even know it. They got parking lot 149 that's
Yes.
been closed for
So
the past
at
10
this
years.
moment,
Please,
at this
man.
moment,
Sick and
we
tired.
are.
I'm being correct. Look here. You
Please.
talking about putting a building in here with no support services.
Yeah. At this moment,
Please.
we are going to take a vote on the motion that's on the table to hold the vote, to hold on the vote. If you are in favor of that motion, you can say yay. If you're in opposition of that motion, you can say nay. Right? Easy enough? Or you can abstain. Beautiful. Starting from the left.
The clerk will call the roll.
Paola Martinez, how do you vote?
Yay.
Susan Camarada, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stephanie Calzado, how do you vote?
Yes means we're holding the vote.
Right.
Okay.
Please speak loudly. You're being
Sorry,
recorded.
yes, Stephanie Calzado holding the vote.
Audrey De Jesus, how do you vote?
Yes.
Delerty Namorin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Argelia Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Brenda Goodwin, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Jose Rodriguez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Michael Pimentel, how do you vote?
Yes.
Josephine Fernandez Byrne, how do you vote?
Yes.
Herman Francis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Everybody?
Okay, thank you so much.
Motion has carried.
I want to thank Brianna Hemmings. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Adam. And thank you, Mr. Ted, for the time and the effort that you've put in. We're going to follow up. As you can see, our members have more questions. And we're going to do our work internally so we can properly follow up with you. And the staff at the community board will also follow up on the presentation to the entire community board. Thank you. Brianna?
Brianna, just a quick clarification. So the vote was
To hold
the
on
vote.
the vote. We're not holding a vote tonight.
to hold.
Correct. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Huh?
Question. So when we have
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yes. Okay. Now
question,
we
we'll
have
more discussion on
we
this
have
issue.
we're gonna follow up.
I
Okay.
know that.
So now we're gonna bring some polls that are putting forward some applications.
Yeah.
One at a time?
Huh?
One at a time. It's gonna be one.
So are they all here or not? Did the folks from complaining against the Chicanito ever showed up? Okay. Beautiful. So who applying for a liquor license and cannabis license? Who's in the room? A few folks. Okay, thank you so much.
What's
Okay,
the address?
good. So we're gonna go into these presentations. I'm wondering if folks need like a 30 seconds, 1 minute break.
Yeah,
So
I got my back.
take water or use the restroom. Okay, let's do a motion to take a 1 minute break.
Motion
Get
to
this
take
out
a
the way.
2-minute
2
break.
minutes break.
I second. Ocho de Jesus.
Yay, nay. Beautiful. Okay,
Yay.
we're taking a break.
Ain't got no
1
soda
minute.
here.
I can see that y'all ginger ale.
I love ginger ale.
Let me out of the way. Across the street, you ready to?
I can't do that in 2 minutes.
Good luck. Oh, in the kitchen, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
We are still. I gotta pause before y'all start asking questions.
I need to know something.
Right.
We know
I have to
this
pause
is-
the
this
meeting.
is-
I have to pause the meeting. Just give me 1 second, please.
Oh, not
Yes.
So when are you gonna hold further discussion about bringing some?
Please let me pause the meeting, Mr. Francis.
Huh? I don't see this mess get played out too
Please let
many
me pause
times.
the meeting, Mr. Francis.
Yeah, build up new buildings and whatnot, and no support
Does
service,
that say? I can't see what that says. There.
Right,
and
yeah.
all the rest
On the
money
way.
go out.
On the way.
That was the lawsuit filed. You know that's the Clinton High School right here. You know that building next to Clinton High School? Go to Dewey Clinton High School. It used to be railroad tracks. These MTA used to have their railroad trains parking there. I used to have to go in Clinton Town.
Agendas?
They put a
Yeah, there's a bunch of
big
them.
parking building up there.
Who? I'm not.
Okay, cool.
No, they were giving you.
You know, a lot
Number
of
you
time
can-
your points are missed because of the way you present them.
Yes.
All these years I've been knowing you gotta present your points differently because when you do outbursts and stuff, that's not good.
I understand that.
So a lot of your points are being missed. You know, they're very good points. They're very
Okay,
good
now
points.
here's what get nasty.
You gonna do
this? Here's what get nasty.
Who's been drinking that?
The management company that was managing that building.
You should know somebody my age gonna ask that question, right?
The management
Right?
company that was managing that building was also managing the building 86th Street. So
Am I-
all
am
the
I
money
right?
they get out that building.
I'm happy that you said something.
Yeah.
I'm happy that
Yeah.
All that money they get out that building up there, they took it down to
The
86th
stuff
Street.
that you say is valuable, but people miss it because you don't say it in an appropriate manner.
I understand you have a passion. No, he has a passion for it.
I go back to Frederick Douglass.
But you
Every
gotta-
time I read
but you gotta
speech,
do it. His presentation is not correct.
I go back to Frederick Douglass. The way
Don't
he
go
made
back
his,
that far.
yes, I do. I go back to Frederick Douglass, the way he made that presentation. And every time I look at them tapes of Elijah Muhammad, and so forth, I say, oh my goodness. Every time I see them
I've
tapes,
been on this board 32 years now, and I've been telling him that we gotta
I've been
stop.
3 years, man.
We gotta stop.
But not early, you just lost me earlier.
every time I see them tapes of
And the
Elijah Muhammad,
information is very valuable.
yeah, I know. Well, look. They done had that parking lot closed 149th, I don't know how long. 125th Street, 125 was closed for over 20 years. It's facing, that building was sitting there. They got a whole lot of vacant apartments in Bronx County right now. Take a walk down Alexander Avenue.
You know why?
Yeah.
You know why I'm such saying?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Because I don't care what you say here, it ain't gonna change.
How about that? Yeah,
Why
right.
the people in Harlem didn't vote for it?
Well, how they got a problem because 125th Street. They got 3 planting boards on 125th Street in Harlem. 3 planting boards.
No.
Yeah. They got 3 planting boards on 120. Oh, thank you, man. Now, let me take this thing right now. Man. I keep on
So
forgetting.
people miss your point because I told you.
They know they got the point. They don't want to hear it. No, they got the point. They don't want to hear it because then they have to check. Then they have to check their own.
You know what to do now?
Their own point of view.
Yeah, not she calls me back to what happened.
Okay.
Do you want this then, or?
Don't
No,
talk.
don't
No.
Oh, when she comes back.
I don't want to hear right now. I'm eating. I don't want to hear.
We. I'm gonna say anyway.
No, you're not.
Got a guy from the policing council. That building on underneath the Willis Avenue Bridge. That building is close to a co-op. That building there, 132nd Street, underneath the Willis Avenue Bridge, when it first opened up.
Which one?
The building under the Willis Avenue Bridge. You come up with that. Check it out. Yeah, it posted in the co-op when it first opened up. They told when it first opened up that building. Yeah, when it first 132nd Street.
Yeah, 130.
Okay, we're ready to
It posted
start.
in the co-op. They couldn't do it, so they turned.
Excuse me, the chair says she's ready.
Okay.
Let's go.
And then, oh no, they messed that whole area up. Oh, the 40 people came back to report. They turned it into a rental, took Section 8, and got the highest incidence of reports and arrests.
Vamos.
Matching
Let's go.
Okay, here.
with St. Anne.
You don't have a, you don't have
I don't know how to do it, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, until you.
Meeting's
get
coming to order.
Okay, I thought them council need to hear that mess up there.
One by one. Okay, yeah.
Meeting's coming to order.
Oh, yeah.
No, let's get a coffee.
Chris,
I don't know which one.
this one, please stop. No, right here.
This one's still.
No, it's not. It's paused.
Are they gonna do this one at a time, or they gonna take all in one presentation?
One at a time.
Oh Lord.
See, that's why we don't need it.
Okay, I am being reminded that
It says.
last
Okay, thank
time
you.
we
Thanks.
heard all the presentations and then, okay. I am being reminded that last time we heard all the presentations and then at the end, we were able to go one by one and make our vote for recommendations. As opposed to waiting for doing a presentation and then doing the vote and then the next one. And how would you prefer to do it this time? Do you think it was helpful to listen to all the presentations and then we have our discussion and vote on each one?
Yes.
It was.
Okay, so we're gonna do that one. Make sure that the right people are in the room or the ones that are not supposed to be here are not.
No, we're good.
We're good? Okay. So I'm gonna call one by one and those who are here, you can step up and I believe we are allocating 3 minutes for presentation.
Yes, that is correct, Chair.
Okay, 3 to 5 minutes per presentation so that our members can also have the opportunity to ask questions, okay? So
When you come up, please make sure that you know all this means to be recorded.
Yeah.
You stand at the head of the table next to the chair's table and have your presentation.
yes.
Please make sure you answer all questions clear and concise so that we save time for questions.
Okay. So Marijuana and Cannabis Products Inc. in the room? No? First Concierge NYC LLC. I believe they're coming for a liquor license? Yes, please step up. Step forward.
It's a new liquor license? Yeah, no.
That's down there on Lincoln Avenue. Other
Okay,
side.
beautiful.
So,
Order.
so we're looking to do an eatery.
Got something to share with the committee?
Yes.
Pass it around.
You can pass it around.
Oh, you
So,
I'm looking for the.
One page per or is it multiple pages?
no, and then I have menus.
Whatever you have.
Oh,
please
okay.
give to the-
Oh, you doing a restaurant down there? Okay.
All the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down there
What's the
by
address?
Roseville.
So it's 2
A lot of people
Bruckner
don't.
Boulevard.
Okay.
No, I
2
know.
Bruckner. It's the
We have to
part
share.
of 101 Lincoln Avenue.
Oh, right.
You know the-
Please allow the time for the presentation to start. All your questions until your time starts. That's right.
So it's kind of it's kind of a little bit difficult to see, but that's what the architect did. So what we're gonna do is to have a little bar, just a service bar. Then we're gonna have we're gonna have a section for sandwiches, soup, salad. We're gonna have a little rotisserie, chicken area, a pizza also, and a few tables by the window. And the way I found this place is because my son moved to 101 Lincoln, and he said, "Ma, there's nothing to eat there."
He's right. He's right.
And I said, "Well, maybe it's an opportunity, to look for a space." And it just happened that downstairs this building there was a space available, and we're going to try our luck.
Good. Okay.
Good luck.
And we have the menus to pass around, right?
Yeah, they passing it around.
Can you share with us? Do you have any? What is your background? Like, what is your? Tell us about you. Who are you?
So this is my mother. She's French. I'm David, her son. Out of four, I'm the oldest one. I'm born and raised in New York. We lived in Harlem for almost 20 years, and I lived in Miami for a little bit. I came back. Now I live in 2385 Third Avenue.
Bankside.
Yeah, Bankside. So we're here, and we own a restaurant already on the Upper West Side, and
we've been in the restaurant business for 35 years.
And this is something that we're surrounded by all these buildings, and I see a lot of people hanging around in the lobby with their computers trying to study. We thought that a place where you can eat, maybe have a drink, can be
work on your computer, like to bring the community.
Are you gonna work in the business too?
I do. I cook. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
And he will be the front guy. He's the operator. So
we can ask questions.
Yes.
So why over in Port Morris? We have 15% vacancy here on Third Avenue, just in this district alone. Why not Third Avenue?
You mean why the spot that we chose right now? Well, because it's surrounded by all this construction, these new buildings, and like I said, you have to walk a far distance to get any food.
Far distance. I mean, there are a couple of restaurants.
Yeah,
got quite a few. Charlie's is right there.
A whole block.
Charlie's, and then
Bistro.
Yeah.
Choco Bar.
The
You got Hudson's.
But this is more like an eatery. It's not going to be like a. It's going to be an eatery where you can go to take out, and then you can also sit. And we thought there was a need there. That's why.
Yeah, thank
There's a need
you.
there.
Like stuff that you can grab and go quickly, and you can chill. Not like a place where you kind of dress up fancy.
Okay, I have 3 questions.
Go ahead.
The first one is, what's the square footage on that property?
1,800.
What would be the capacity?
Of how many people?
Yes.
I think 80 to 100.
Do you have your license, your lease yet?
Yes, we have to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. So it holds a lot of people, right?
80 people.
Would you describe it like a kind of like a market type of thing?
Yeah. Yes, because there's a lot of kids his age who come home, and they come from the subway, and we hope that they're going to grab their dinner or breakfast on the way to work.
That's why we're doing a lot of options. You could have all types of food to please everybody.
Yes. One more question. What kind of entertainment are you going to be doing? Your hours of operation.
So breakfast for sure, and at the beginning, and then lunch. Brunch is going to be good too, and early dinner.
So what time? To what time?
I think maximum 10 o'clock.
10 p.m. Okay, music, entertainment.
Just background.
Jukebox, background.
Yeah, background just to give an ambiance.
I'm good.
Do you have a liquor license currently at your other location?
Yeah.
Okay, so
20
this is
years, and I've never had a problem. Thank God.
okay.
So
Thank
would
you.
it be space available for, like, example, me as a student, college student, would it be space available for I can do my assignment?
That's what we want. We want to have like a big table.
Okay.
Yes, and I got the the highest internet speed so that when
Is your other establishment similar, or is this a new concept that you're
So we right now have a restaurant called Café du Soleil. It's a French bistro on the Upper West Side. It's on 104 and Broadway.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And we used to have a restaurant in Harlem called Chez Lucien.
I remember that one. Yeah,
in the
yeah,
corner.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
On
Then we had
125.
On 125th, right?
Yes, 125.
Yeah.
Next to Red Rooster.
Yeah, that
I
was
remember. Yeah, I went there. That's why he looked familiar to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we're very much
The lease goes up. The lease goes up.
at one point the economy went south and we had to choose between two restaurants. We couldn't, because we were borrowing from one to feed the other, and my husband said we gotta let go of one, and we let go of Chez Lucien because the other one we were there. It's been 20 years, and we said okay, we're gonna keep this.
Things happen.
We got it very good. Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions? No.
I have one. These are the prices, right?
Yeah, we read them.
This is real good.
This
we
is
wanna make
Let
it
me
really
see.
cheap, yeah.
They're reasonable.
We wanna make it
Very,
affordable.
very good.
I had them.
Can I pass this around?
They're reasonable.
When are you looking to open? What date?
Around September.
Because it's all walls now. We have to construct. That's
Are you
the most
working?
difficult part.
Are you working with the city to get your permits, your licenses already? Do you need any connections to SBS?
What's SBS?
The
Small
department?
Business Association.
No, the Department of Small Business Services.
So how can they help us?
So you are veterans. You have already opened several businesses, but one of the services that they do, they have different like compliance navigators. They help you. These are the permits that you need, and like to kind of understand depending on the business that you are operating. And this would cover a lot of ground. They would basically tell you these are all the permits that you need, and they would actually kind of help you. They have also like different trainings for entrepreneurs, a bunch of stuff.
So how can I connect with them?
Okay, we'll follow up on that
Okay.
with instructions.
Thank
Gas
you.
or electricity?
And you'd be part of the bid,
Electricity.
right? They'd be part of. No, they wouldn't be part of the bid. No.
So
no.
Like,
But
sorry, just to know, are you guys gonna be doing like Uber Eats and things of that nature?
Yes.
Okay.
All that, yeah.
You
okay.
have to.
It's not recording.
Are you part of already of any of the chambers of commerce in the Bronx?
No, this is new for us. The reason
So
why
can we have it on the
we
record?
did we did everything. We did in my lifetime the village, Upper East Side, Upper West Side, Harlem, and now the Bronx.
Okay. Okay. So
We feel like the Bronx is gonna be the new Long Island City.
okay. Because we had that.
probably not the best.
Well,
What she's saying now. What
Speed
she
it
means,
up.
okay, I know what you mean. What she meant is that, there's so many buildings where I live, and when you go downstairs, there's so
I
much
know exactly what
construction,
you're
so much
saying.
stuff. It doesn't bring the real Bronx.
Exactly.
And we want to bring the real Bronx to that place.
Right
because
there on
everything's
Lincoln
gray,
Avenue,
everything's-
right there where you talking about.
Yeah,
on
right there, we
Lincoln
want to
Avenue.
make it, we want to bring the classic
No,
Bronx to the area.
But we want
Well-
to keep it
You
authentic.
can't not be from the Bronx and think you're gonna bring the real Bronx.
But
No,
we did that in Harlem. We
You
lived
know-
in
you
Harlem
know,
for
but
10
that's
years.
Let me
When
tell
they
you something.
closed
Harlem is
Atlanta,
Harlem
that
and the
was
Bronx
You
is
know,
the
all of
Bronx.
that needs to be
Right.
brought back.
So,
You know, down
we
here
wanna
with
be
the-
sure
with the
that-
school and everything.
We're not here, yeah.
But
Right?
Vegas
We're not
is
here for that. We're here to
really,
just.
really
Okay.
So I just wanted to ask about hiring and making sure that like, how much staff do you guys think you're gonna be needing?
Not many,
That bad.
Okay.
not many. It's gonna be a lot of, people,
Take up.
cooking.
Okay, thanks.
Be more back of the house than front of the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hire from the community.
Of course, only.
Go.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
when they
We
closed
also
down
had a
the
presentation from BXEDC about those applications for the loans and the programs that they have. So good information to share as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
More questions?
Nope.
One more.
We're gonna make you proud. We're gonna do our best to really bring community together.
It's needed in that
We're,
area.
Yeah, it is.
yes,
It really
I
is.
just walked there a couple of weeks ago. and
It's
It's
not
so,
so
it's just, you
You
don't,
have to go to
It's
Alexander
lonely.
Avenue.
It's
or-
very
or-
lonely.
and we're gonna create traffic too, because we're in front of a beautiful, we're in front of the river, So in the summertime downstairs in my building, if you go tomorrow, you'll see they have these nice tables. Everybody's just, whether it's having a coffee or walking their dog. It's
But when you turn
Okay. Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.
turn them over this summer?
Thank
In September?
you. I'll keep this.
yeah.
Will people still be walking? Yeah, so people still be walking out.
I'll make a copy.
Give one.
No, you don't have to say.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Good luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You take the good month. You take the good month over for them.
Addison House's residents to come on.
Melbrook, yeah.
Walk to the waterfront.
This is in.
But look at it. Look at the Chelsea market, for example. It's in house. You have these buildings, but once people know and if they like the services, they would go. They'll find it. It'll take some time, perhaps.
Hello.
Their prices are better than McDonald's.
Next, next.
Okay, so we're gonna have our little discussion. We're gonna go for the next presentation. Hudson Smokehouse. Oh, I love Hudson Smokehouse. Yay. Are you applying for a liquor license too?
No, it's just
Renewal.
the
The renewal, yeah, the renewal. So,
I got it. Right here.
Yeah, we got it.
yes, I don't have it in front of me. I'm
You flip
sorry.
through your
Steven.
packet, you see a map, you see a paper of the business.
Can I get a
You
packet?
see everything inside there. The menu is
Thank you.
that an important part. Just look at the map. Please look at the application. Look at everything that's inside your package.
It's in order too.
It's
Okay.
in order, yes.
Okay, you have your packages. You've been around for quite a couple of years already. Tell us.
Yeah, we opened up on in March of 2020. Everything's been going real smooth. We our hours of operation are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week, closed on Mondays.
Yep.
No problems. Everything's been real smooth. Everything's going well. That's really it.
And they have good prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the menu.
How have you been able to keep your prices?
Owner operated.
Right.
Anybody wants the menu?
Okay.
Please look at your packet. This packet has all
Okay.
the information we need.
Any questions
Nope.
for Hudson Smokehouse?
Nope.
I forgot what time do you guys close? It's not on the packet.
Monday.
9 o'clock.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, Harlem Group PR Group Bistro. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jasmine. I'm the Director of Operations for Bistro. We have 4 businesses in this community.
Which one?
We have Bistro, we have Bodega Social, we have Bricks and Hops Beer Garden, and Combud is our newest business.
Wow, that's great.
Yes.
Good. Any questions from the committee members
Nope.
for Bistro?
Nope.
Okie dokie. Okay, maybe we'll throw a party there
Someone
like
said
a summer.
something. Just question.
Just keep my business partner for the Garson facing that bathroom. Keep it there.
Listen, we're gonna make sure that we're always going to honor all Bronx legends.
Appreciate it.
If you guys know about our group, we're very involved in the community. We try to do right. We have a 92% local employee workforce. We're the first to show up when there is any type of crisis, not only in Mount Haven, but in the Bronx across the board. So we definitely try to do right by our neighborhoods. We're not just bringing up businesses, and we're trying to do right by our people as well.
Thank you so much.
So this is a renewal?
Yes.
Renewal.
Yes.
What's the capacity?
74.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
El Crucero Restaurant. El Crucero didn't show up.
Good.
619 Bar Restaurant Salvadoreño. En la 151, 151st Street, renewal for a liquor license.
Gracias. Mi nombre es José, ¿puedo hablar en español?
Sí.
Mi nombre es José, mi papá, el presidente.
Okay, if you're speaking Spanish, someone's gonna have to translate.
Do that.
Oh, we're gonna try.
No, but try. You
No
try.
problem.
Go ahead. Try.
This is our menu we have. This is the first time we have it here in this place. Thank you so much. I'm feeling good because we are in the neighbor, so we have the leisure pupusas from El
For
Salvador.
$3. For $3 pupusas. Those are the real prices.
We've been in the business, I think, 2015 we started. We don't have any problem with the business. We provide to, like same service, the other, but different thing. Something, we had a second restaurant. This is the second one. We had another one, 455 Morris Avenue. That's the first one. And now here, that's the new thing for us because the information I received in the email is something different about the other one, but that we hear about anything you have in the paper. We listen to you. We follow to you. I hope our business help the community, our economy. But anyway, when we in the business, we need something about you, like you, because about NYPD, we need help too. It's not only we have to embroider in the business. So the thing is, if I tell something, yeah, I have my business, my father, my family. Now we're here. It's together. It's not only me. I provide about taxes, about you see the menu. I not change the price for years. About before the pandemic, I don't change because I know the community. They don't have enough money, but we here. We support our business, our community. So any change, we take it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Question.
¿Cuánta gente? How many people?
Working with me?
No.
Capacidad.
It's about 74.
The hours.
10 to and the week 10 to 11, and the weekend 10 to 11, 12.
7 days a week?
7 days.
Okay, thank you.
So you close to Third Avenue, huh? Street end.
Two street before Third Avenue. I mean,
Melrose.
yeah, 151 Melrose.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
No, test the proposal.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have an invitation to go try the pupusa.
course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I
Okay.
say- Can I say it to him?
If you want to, yeah. Jack, those who have to leave, you can also feel free to leave, okay? But if you want to stay, you can stay. Jackson VX Corp, Mexico, Cocina.
Madam Chair, they asked to be
Rescheduled?
excused and to push it for next month's meeting.
Okay, okay. Rey Tacos.
No liquor license.
Yeah, a little sample of tacos
Good afternoon.
would have been nice.
So we were ready to, this is our first time in the Bronx. We're gonna open up a place.
Order.
And it's 626 Melrose Avenue, Santa Caria. I didn't have I don't even want to look around. The before and after. So you can continue. So you continue.
Oh, nice, nice.
So I
Between
don't know if you
151 and
guys
152.
have an idea like tacos numero uno. Maybe some people.
Between 151 and
That
152.
means los tacos no.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's basically that's basically a new fashion in Mexico that we bring into
Around the corner from the high school.
So basically we open it something like
Around the
that.
corner from the high school. Across from the supermarket.
¿Cómo? What's the new thing that they're opening in Mexico? What?
Yeah, so the taquerias is like fast food.
Ah, okay.
It's fast food with fresh food.
Okay.
So our place is 800 square feet, and the capacity for people is going to be around 12 to 14 people in one seat. We have a background music, and we try to bring the community. I don't know, you see the phone. We try to get a different concept. It's a fast-paced concept for tacos. Also, we have birria. You like birria? So we're gonna have it.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, and so yeah, basically our prices we are trying to be lower for the Bronx, like not to be expensive. And we're gonna have Uber Eats, Grab, DoorDash. We also have an own app that is gonna basically work. We're gonna get also people from the community, so we're gonna hire people
Oh,
in the community, and we change it. We change basically this because it's a corner. So basically, we changed the environment. So it looks overly. I don't know. You haven't seen. I don't know. You got a chance to see it. It's on 152 and Melrose Avenue.
Looking at the video.
Yeah, that's basically the inside. And he's a chef. He has 15 50 years experience, I think.
You before I get to the shoemaker.
You
Right before we get to the
Cross
shoemaker.
street from the supermarket.
Down the
Yeah.
street from the shoemaker. He's on the corner.
It was a pizzeria there, like famous.
Yeah, the
famous
pizzeria. Yeah.
Yeah, so they
For how many years you've been in this industry, in the hospitality restaurateur industry?
He's the master of the chef. He's been like 50 years.
Sí, como 15 años trabajando en la cocina. So, tratamos de traer algo. Ya hay restaurantes
You
grandes
shoemaker
aquí,
been here
pero
for the past
queremos
50
traer,
years.
ser parte también de lo que es el negocio de comida, especialmente en taquería. El objetivo de nosotros es traer especialmente a ese local en la esquina que están las 152, mantenerlo siempre limpio. O sea, no sé si notaron que cómo era ahora lo tratamos. Siempre nuestra idea es mantener esa zona limpia. Estamos pensando muchas cosas en el futuro, pero queremos involucrarnos con la comunidad también.
Yeah, so he was just sharing that they've been in the business. He's been in the business for 15 years, and they want to have a focus on, keeping the commercial space very clean. They also want to get more involved in the community.
Well,
Other questions? Then the learning. Okay.
So solamente it's going to be takeout.
It's gonna be in
Because if I can,
but mostly it's gonna be like take out in and out. Yes, that's basically what we're looking for.
So you said 12 to 15 people in whole.
Yes,
Okay.
in one seat. Yes. Yeah.
No, got it.
Hours of operation?
From 11 a.m. all the way to 12 a.m. So it's gonna be
Todos los días.
yeah.
Wow.
Even Sunday? Okay.
Even Sundays. Yes.
Wow. 7 days.
But basically it's gonna be. We don't wanna keep like.
What type of
1 or 2
alcohol are you
beers.
serving?
We try to do like
Wine, beer, and cider.
only
Yes,
beer.
it's wine, beer, and cider. That's it.
Yeah, that's
Not
it,
a full
yeah.
liquor. Y música, tú vas a have a
No,
jukebox.
it's just background music.
Sí, tratamos de que la comunidad también no sea muy ruidosa, como educar a la gente que la música tiene que ser suave para que.
Okay, so I have a question. So you're gonna have the music there to, is it like a kind of like a fast food taco, but it's also like a restaurant?
Yeah. So it's like you wanna eat. Let's say you're hungry. You wanna eat. You wanna see. Is that the same thing at Chipotle? Some kind. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any other businesses in the area that serve alcohol until that late at night, or is this new?
There ain't nothing new. Liquor stores stay open to midnight. Hell, those who got a heart to.
Because what you for Hudson Smokehouse, how late are you open? Until 9 p.m. So even at 9 p.m., like, what's your experience with people? Like, because you serve beer and a bunch of other stuff.
They have a
Yes. Yeah. So what's your experience?
A little bit of different location.
Yes, definitely.
There's really there's no night traffic right now because the buildings are up, but no one's really moved in.
Right.
So as of right now, there's very little. All of my businesses.
Yeah. And you're more residential. This is more commercial. More like a. Is it?
No, this 151st is residential.
Also residential.
151st.
Yeah.
You got the supermarket on the corner. You got that
Yeah.
You got that supermarket there also.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the place.
Next to the church. Yeah, you got houses.
Yeah. That's the before.
Like la escuela.
So you got the school and the.
Yeah, no, it's on the corner. The Catholic church is down in the middle of the.
Which one?
Immaculate.
Immaculate. Oh, I know. It's near our office.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's down your
Look
block,
at the
right
stars.
here.
Yeah.
You're right down the block there. On 150.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We have one more question.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and I remember I used to eat there when it was Dino's Pizza a lot. You have Invalid, then you have La Parilla, right next, then there's the supermarket.
Water.
And then there is another place there that's selling Puerto Rican food.
Yep.
Okay, and then it's when your business comes in, next to the barber shop there.
Yeah, next to the
So
bar.
there's actually a lot going on in there regarding food and liquor, because La Parilla has even a little a hookah station there next to it, and when that gets together, especially on Friday night, I know from my own experience, because I live in the neighborhood, a person can't even take that train station sometimes. Okay, so I mean, that is a venue with a lot of eateries. And then after yours, you have a Valle restaurant.
In the corner. Yeah.
So it is a place, Melrose Avenue there, that has a lot of eateries and a lot of midnight situations going on, especially on the weekend.
Question,
Okay?
question.
What's question?
So if I understand correctly, there's no alcohol to take out now, right?
Correct.
Like everything has to be inside.
Consumed in.
Officer Perez, what is your input on like that? No. I want to know like from your experience working and covering that area, like any like the issues that you see in the area.
I mean, she's right about the La Bahia. That is a really busy area where people can drink because they do have a bar on the side. That bar, I mean, that area at night, it can get, there's movement. There's movement because there's buildings right nearby. His establishment is very new. It's right across the street from a building location. So we have no 311 complaints in this location because this location is very new. So in regards to people calling in that establishment, we have.
One of the things for the records, we're gonna close by 11. We're thinking about 11, 12 doors, because we have a door, we have a window next to it. We're gonna basically get only Uber Eats from that side. So basically, we're gonna. We protect ourselves just in case. So I think it's okay, but yeah, I'm sorry.
So what I want to highlight here is what I'm seeing that the picture that you guys provided is Melrose.
Yeah.
But the address is 395 East 151st Street, which if that entrance is on 151st Street, then all of that is residential across the street from you. And next to you is the church. So there are a couple things, right? One, how much footage do you need to be away from the church to serve alcohol?
500 feet.
Right? And so are we 500 feet? What we need to see. And then the second part is there's also residential. So we need to look into that.
Okay, I think we've heard all the presentations for this evening, and now we can go into the discussion of the committee. So you can help us with the right procedure now, whether, we're gonna.
Yeah. One question, is that the address 626? That's Melrose. That's basically the address. I don't know. It's 626. We are on Melrose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
626.
Yeah.
I was going to make a comment. Why did they
Yeah.
write that in the application?
Okay, I want to thank you for your time. Thank
We
you
expect
so
you guys
much.
to be there when.
Are you guys
Yes.
open?
Yes.
In 2 weeks. So,
Thank
no,
you
feel
so
free
much.
to come and join us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of the business owners that took the time to come to the meeting and do your presentations. It was nice to see your faces. Thank you so much. And thank you for your investment in the Bronx.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
That will go back to the office. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
The new one.
Thank you.
The new one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sí, gracias.
I love it.
I'm sorry.
It's me. I have to sit
I'm
outside.
so sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Bahia.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna get a report from Officer Lopez, and I want everybody to give him your full attention. And if we do that and we behave, we should be out of here soon.
Yay.
I'm gonna make it very quick. I'm just sort of going down the list from the agenda that you have. The marijuana and cannabis production. That's a fairly new business. They want their cannabis license. Very new. We don't have any 311 calls in regards to that area. So we can't say anything about that place, anything negative. The first Conjugor at 101 Lincoln Avenue. That's a very, very new place. The buildings are still being built.
Okay.
So we have no complaints. So what I do is we look at all the 311 complaints, 911 complaints, and because that area is not really, there's no foot traffic, there's no complaints in that area. So all my opinions and judgments that I'm giving you are just facts from what I'm just seeing.
Okay.
The Hudson Smokehouse, we have no complaints with them.
Okay.
There's no 311 calls, there's no 911 calls, no police action in that area.
They're so good.
They're good.
Harlem Group Bistros, we only have noise complaints, but because they are in a building.
Right.
I live in that building.
And that's the only reason why we only have. So besides that, there's no 911 calls being called in that area. It's only noise complaints, and that's it.
That's the biggest complaint in the city, noise complaints. True.
Yep.
What else? The El Crucero restaurant. That one's we don't know much about. So I can't. Oh wait, we do. I'm sorry. That's okay. We don't get no complaints with that one. That's literally 2 blocks away from the precinct. We don't get no 311 or 911 complaints on that. The 619 bar restaurant.
Madam Chair, if I may, I'm just asking, is it the place we had the 2 complaints about?
Yes.
Yeah,
Or you had the people for the public?
No.
The last one is mentioned, the place we had 2 complaints about?
No, I said Chicanito.
Is that on the agenda?
No, that's not it.
Oh no, it's a different one.
It's a different one. This one's actually on 138th Street at Chicanito. Is between 3rd and Melrose on 153rd.
Oh, okay.
All right. The 619 bar restaurant El Salvador. We don't know much about. That's very new. The Jackbox Mexicocina. We don't get any complaints about that. So we don't have no 311 or 911 complaints.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ray Tacos, that's also new. We don't get any complaints on that. We don't get no 911 or 311 complaints on that.
Okie dokie. So are we ready to take our vote?
Yes.
Motion to take a vote?
I have a question before you take a vote. The cannabis one, the first one?
They didn't show up.
They didn't show up.
Okay.
So I was reminded, maybe I'm answering your question, that this committee voted that if they do not show up, then there is a recommendation as an automatic denial to the full board.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Okay. I have another question.
Wait, I have my hand up first.
Go ahead.
This is the second time there's a no-show on this dispensary, correct?
Is that a second time?
This is the second time there's a no-show. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
I got a question.
This is the second dispensary that has not shown.
legal.
No,
No,
this is the second
specific
time.
one.
This one.
They don't have the
I don't
license.
think so. No.
No, this is
They
the first
need the
time.
This is the first time they.
So it says 2 previously who asked for extensions, like they would.
So
No, this is the
there
second time.
2
Yeah,
previous
this is the
applications
second
who
time.
asked for extensions. One is the marijuana and cannabis
Yeah.
products one, and then another one is the first class concierge, which they came here.
Right, I
They
remember that.
asked
But
for
they-
just 1 extension.
Okay.
They were on the agenda last month.
So before the committee to vote, I don't know, we have someone in the audience. I don't know if you're here to do the presentation or you're just observing. You. Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You got a big liquor store on 149th Street, right up the block from Lincoln Hospital. I was in there a while back.
Yeah.
Owner was in there. So I asked him, how you get this place opened up without coming before the local neighborhood planning board? He told me straight up my face, I don't have to go before the board.
Oh.
Now, that's the biggest liquor store out there. I remember before when I said on this board, how he closed down a couple of liquor stores from opening up and stopped them putting up that men's shelter across the street from Mother Hell School up there on the hill. I grasped that real good because when I did my walk from the river down 130th Street up to 163rd Street from river to river, you got approximately 120 liquor stores in the neighborhood.
120, is that true, officer? Do we know that?
Wait, 120 what?
Liquor stores.
I don't know the amount of liquor stores, but if you really want to
They're
know,
not- they
I
didn't
can.
Yeah, go ahead, check it out.
Order.
Okay. Okay, well, I think we're ready to take a vote.
Yes, we
So I take
Well,
a
I'm not gonna
motion
repeal the
to
18th
take a
Amendment.
vote.
We have to vote.
Anyone second them? Yeah. Roll call.
Was the motion made?
No, we got the roll call. Are we doing it on
Yeah.
each individual, no?
Yes, you gotta do a roll call. You gotta do the motion first.
Yeah,
Then you
motion
gotta
to take a vote.
I, Delornita Moran, make a motion to take a vote for liquor license.
I
Yes.
second.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go down the
Discussion
list.
of the motion.
Discussion on the motion.
My concern was the opening hours till 12, but I think he kind of backed it up a little bit and said that they were probably going to close at 11. That was my
I
only
ain't worried
objection
about that, man.
because of that area there.
So, Madam Chair, before you start, then if this committee has conditions, because when I'm writing the letter will stipulate to go strictly on the application. So if the application says 12 midnight, then this committee has to say that it wants to make whatever the conditions may be on any of the licenses clear before the letter is signed and sent before the full board takes it, and then the letter is signed where the committee flags.
They could say something like they can sell alcohol until 11, but the food, if they want to say sell food until 12, they can.
We're only doing liquor, right? So I guess I was clarifying what the stipulations are for liquor licenses.
And also, I would say it's a new business, so they have a year. Next year, they have to come back, and we'll have the police officers come and tell us if there are any complaints.
Whatever it is.
That's true.
So,
Is the procedure that we're going to vote on each one separately, or we're doing this?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we vote. So we're gonna vote on each one separately. You can indicate any conditions, and I would say that for new businesses, if we are satisfied with the business, the idea, and the need also for the business, next year they have to come back. And if the police officers tell us that there are complaints, there are any issues, we have our authority to change our mind.
Madam Chair, I have a question because I was not previously here. The marijuana and cannabis, are they legal?
Yeah. If they're coming to the board.
They would want to come and apply for the license.
For
legal license.
Yes.
So they're not legal yet.
Right. But they don't have a license yet.
Right. They're
Yes.
not licensed.
Yes.
Are we entertaining in this board to give people a license, or have you done a monitoring not to, or are you entertaining?
They have to come to the board and do their
Okay.
presentation, and based on the information that they provide, we make our recommendation.
So there's no moratorium in this board at this time that you are not approving cannabis.
No, and we haven't had any approvals or actual presentations in a long time now.
Okay, I just wanted to know because I wasn't here.
Ms. Goodwin, there's only been legally in this one. That is it, and then they just opened
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks or so ago.
And we want people to actually come and present. I think it is a disservice to the work that we do to not encourage people to come and present and go through the legal way or process to do these things. Okay,
And Madam Chair, if I could add that at your request, we have the New York State Office of Cannabis Management coming to present in June on the process. But legally, the board has to vote on any approved, or not approved, any considerations
Either way.
that's going
Thank
through the
you.
process.
And when we have OCM come in and do the presentation, we're gonna develop our rubric.
But are we the last word, or does the city have the last word?
No, we're not the last word.
Yeah, I don't think so. We're recommending.
The last
We are the
recommendation.
last word?
Yeah, they won't approve
If we
Yeah,
don't approve.
That's right. The city
Okay.
does not have rules yet on cannabis.
Yeah, so we make our recommendations and then OCM does their part. That's
Does
fine.
the rest.
Okie dokie, so let's vote. First Concierge, NYC LLC. Those were the folks that came with their big map to
From
introduce,
Harlem.
yeah,
Okay.
to introduce this concept of food takeout, bar, chill, lounge, French, voila.
I make a motion that we approve their new liquor license.
Second by Brenda Goodwin.
No, I think we're just going roll call, right?
Are we just doing roll call?
We're just doing roll call.
Roll call. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Roll call.
Yeah.
So Paola Martinez, how do you vote?
Aye.
Susan Camarada, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stephanie Calzado?
Yes.
Audrey De Jesus?
Yes.
Dolores Namorin?
Yes.
Argelia Ortiz?
Yes.
Brenda Goodwin?
Yes.
Jose Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Pimentel?
Yes.
Josephine Fernandez Byrne?
Yes.
Herman Francis?
Yes.
Okay, motion has carried.
Welcome Long Island to the South Bronx. And a little bit of Paris too.
Long Island City.
That's a joke.
They were.
No, but she said
Nice
it.
and fresh.
That was a joke.
When you're ready, next item?
Yes.
Okay, Mercy. Okay.
Hudson is
Hudson
next.
Smokehouse.
Hudson
Corp.
Smokehouse.
Paola Martinez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Susan Camarada, how do you vote?
Yes.
With barbecue sauce.
Stephanie Calzado, how do you vote?
Yes.
Audrey De Jesus,
Yes.
Learning the Mormon,
Yes.
Argelia Ortiz,
Yes.
Brenda Goodwin.
Yes.
This is for Hudson Smokehouse.
Oh, yes, Hudson, yes. Sorry.
Jose Rodriguez,
Yes.
Michael Pimentel,
Yes.
Josephine Fernandez Byrne,
Yes.
Herman Francis Jr.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Okay.
Next item.
Pork ribs. Anybody?
Let's go.
They also own
Harlem.
Glenroy.
You distracted me.
That's fine.
Okay, so we said yes, Smokehouse, good. I like that business. Harlem Group PR, Bistro,
Paola Martinez, how do you vote?
yes.
Susan Camarada, how do you vote?
Yes, but I am concerned about the noise complaints. Is that?
Yeah, tell me your stipulations. As I call your name and you vote, just tell me
Man,
what
you better
stipulations you
come
might
to
have.
Mud Haven and take them duckheads out there
Order,
that park, play
order,
that door
order,
at 2
please.
o'clock in the morning.
Susan, what
I
are your
don't.
stipulations?
I'm just concerned that NYPD told us there were noise complaints. So but I don't know enough.
How
So
extensive though?
yes,
He
we don't
didn't-
know.
We
He
don't know.
didn't say.
And I think that was a discussion we should have had with them.
Yes.
We got the information after the
Like-
presentation. And Clarissa knows when she's outside. 'cause it's her
Yeah.
brother.
It's a lounge, isn't it?
The thing is the
No.
building, right? I don't think the structure of those buildings can hold a lot of noise.
At the same time, at the same time, well, at the same time with soundproofs, I own a business myself too. At the same time, soundproof is different layers of soundproof.
Mm-hmm.
We just spent a couple thousand on soundproof over like 20,000. They still could hear the noise.
That's correct.
So I guess that's something that they can't even complain about.
It's
Well, they
just
can complain.
that bass.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's
here-
where it comes down
But
to.
understand this: bass is like water;
Mhm.
it travels.
Yes.
But what we could really do, tell them to go to this.
No,
So
I'm gonna explain this to you real quick. This was going on ever since
Okay.
20.
Wait.
Look,
Okay. Just go
I want
ahead.
to take a vote.
Just-
I want to hear the reservations. We can take note of those, and let's take our vote.
But I just
And-
want to say clearly that we can vote on the liquor license, but if a business has a complaint and we have concerns, we can always invite those businesses and tell them what our constituents, since they're in our board, how they feel. So I think that is a discussion we should probably have with Bistro, and we should take note of it and like go, invite them.
Yeah, and
talk
see
to them
how
later.
how big the issue is, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to put it out there
Of
in the
course.
sense that I don't know enough, but you guys know a lot more about it than I do, you know, about the business itself.
So
So,
Clarissa listed, she could give
Yeah,
us
she could tell
more.
us more.
Okay,
But this has been going on since the 1920s.
it's on the record. Thank you.
Y'all
Okay,
interrupted
it's on the record. Thank you. Let's
Sorry.
continue our vote. Roll
Yeah,
call.
continue to vote, please.
Stephanie Calzado, how do you vote?
Oh, yes.
Audrey De Jesus,
Yes.
Learning the Mormon,
Yes.
Argelia Ortiz,
Yes.
Brenda Goodwin,
Yes.
Jose Rodriguez,
Yes.
Michael Pimentel,
Yes.
Josephine Fernandez Byrne,
Yes.
Herman Francis Jr.
Yes. Let's move on. Let's move it.
Motion has
Okay,
carried.
El Crucero Restaurant.
They didn't show.
They didn't show.
Sorry,
619 bar. Yeah.
I know there were questions about Bistro. I ran out. Sorry.
yeah,
Yes.
I was
Yeah,
just
we're gonna
concerned,
invite
Clarissa,
them all.
about the fact.
You
with
know
the
what
noise.
happens? The problem. So just to clarify, so we have the problem is that there's a studio right above them. It used to be their office,
Mm-hmm.
but once they moved out with the new business over on One Bruckner, they moved their office to that. So that studio is an apartment,
Mhm.
and that apartment, the music, right? There was some complaint, but it's fine.
It's
It's
not
not
big
like
deal.
it's
Okay. I
It's no
voted
big
yes.
deal.
Yeah.
No, it's no big.
Okay.
It's not like
you.
they party. They
So it's
party
not
at night.
like and also to Bistro's defense, anytime we do call and say, hey, the music's not, they tone it down.
And they close at 11, so it's good.
On the
Thank
weekends.
you.
She's the one that owns the
Pops.
Okay,
Yeah.
619 bar restaurant El Salvadoreño. Yeah, we're finished. 619 bar and restaurant.
Yes.
Paola Martinez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Susan Camarada, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stephanie Calzado, how do you vote? Audrey De Jesus, how do you vote?
Yes.
Learning the Mormon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Argelia Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Brenda Goodwin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jose Rodriguez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Michael Pimentel, how do you vote?
Yes.
Josephine Fernandez Byrne, how do you vote?
Yes.
Herman Francis Jr., how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
I have a question. So Mexicocina didn't show up. Are we gonna require that all the small businesses come, or is the police report enough to know that they don't have any issues, any complaints, and
I think
we
they
can
should
vote?
They should still come. I think.
Huh?
The committee voted it.
Okay,
So it's in February.
good. So we should invite them for the next one. Ray Tacos.
Paola Martinez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Susan Camarada, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stephanie Calzado, how do you vote?
Yes. And this is the one from 12 to 12 or 11 to 12?
11 to 12.
Is this the one that's the small space, the little
Yes.
tick? Okay.
Yeah, Melrose.
Audrey De Jesus, how do you vote?
Yes.
Delaney Namorin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Argelia Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Brenda Goodwin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jose Rodriguez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Michael Pimentel, how do you vote?
Yes.
Josephine Fernandez Byrne, how do you vote?
Yes, with the condition that after 11 o'clock, no more alcohol will be sold.
I'm good with that too.
Yes.
Yeah, we're good.
I agree with that.
I agree.
You better study
Thank
18
you,
for
Josephine.
minutes.
So that is going before the full board for the as a condition that alcohol stops at 11.
Yeah.
Understood.
You better study 18th Amendment. Find out what
They're
happened.
not selling alcohol. It's just beer.
It's just beer.
It's alcohol.
And they're
It's
not
still-
even
it's still-
allowed.
No, I know.
I thought the
but they're
hookah
not.
place is the
And the
problem.
way
When
they
are they
got
coming
beer
back?
on it,
Was it paella, whatever that sound was?
Study
La
18th
parrilla.
Amendment. It doesn't have rules there. They're gonna drink anyway.
Huh?
They're gonna drink. All you ask them to do is calm it down.
Okay, these are the recommendations from this board. Okay, a motion to ad.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I have not finished.
Okay.
Herman Francis Jr., how do
Yes,
you
yes,
vote?
yes.
Motion has carried. You may continue, Madam Chair.
Motion
Wait, I have
to
something to say though. Sorry. I know, but I just want to talk about what's that business you guys just told me, the one that's making all this
La
noise?
Parrilla.
La Parrilla, whatever. If a business is having issues in our community, what do we do to address it outside of the liquor license? You know what I mean? Like first, you know what I mean? Like if we know they're having a problem, you know, one of our own board members told them like they're having problems. Is that, I mean, I'm assuming that if there's an issue we could address, doesn't it come to this board? Is there anything we can do? I just
Talk to the
Why
owner, ask him to tone it down. That's all you
Lopez
do.
go over there and
It
talk
doesn't
to
have to be Lopez.
Oh, I'm saying is, you know, because okay, but they have more power than more like, you know.
Are we an
stature than
enforcement
we do.
authority?
No.
Not necessarily, but we're community. So one of the things that I would suggest, right, like as a community member who lives here, to talk to the owners, to let them know, hey, you know, I'm a community board member. I'm part of the committee. We vote every year on licenses. This is something that, you know, we would love for you to come into the community board to talk to us because we're hearing X, Y, and Z, right? We don't want to throw the police at them because that's not building community. So, you know, I would suggest that we start to step out of our like comfort zones and build relationships with businesses and you know, begin to welcome them into our space. I can't hear you, Ms. Goodman. What's that?
I was asking him.
Maybe a
I wasn't
call would
talking to you, I
be
was
a
talking
good
to him.
place to
Oh,
start
okay.
before you walk into those businesses. Maybe a
Yeah,
call.
I want to add, if I may, Madam Chair. Be careful as a board person that you do not walk in as a figure of authority.
I'm not going to start with stuff. I was asking what the board is
Careful.
doing.
So it is because you want to make sure that you don't, that anyone does not represent
Of course,
the board as, I'm not saying you, just anyone.
Right.
So like the chair said, welcome, come on over to the board office. That thing is welcome. But they'll say, hey, you're not supposed to do this or that or whatever.
No, but I'm just like,
They're
what is,
entertaining.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, so this is a place,
Yeah,
this is
so,
space.
you know, our board member said, there's a business that's having an issue. Because of that business, we're limiting someone else's business liquor license, which is kind of not fair to them when they're not even the problem. So that's why I'm asking as a board, if it impacted us so much, we're like, you know, policing licensing for someone else, that we should do something as, you know, a unit. And so, you know, so I think this is the chair, like to be creative. That answer doesn't have to be solved today, but us first to be creative since it is impacting our voting.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Didn't Officer Lopez said there was no incident at that place? Didn't he report on this?
I think they
Yeah,
did.
That's what I'm saying. He already reported.
No, this is you brought up another place that is not on
That is
this
next
list.
door. It's next
And
door.
he did say that there was
Problem.
yes.
Next door, but not this one.
No. We approved that one
Yes,
already.
nothing
This is
nothing
about,
no contest.
Right, right.
I would say that, you know, in instances where there are major concerns, we should talk to the police officers, see what they've done.
Yeah.
Because if we go into reaching out to everyone that's had one issue or two issues, not creating extra work for the board members, but to Clarissa's point, building community requires also that effort of, like, you know, making a phone call or stopping by the business and talking to folks and extending ourselves as a resource.
Make you spend money there when you talk.
So maybe, yeah, maybe some homework for the summer when we don't have session, and then invite people to come over for the September, like a brand new beginning, you know?
Okay.
So maybe there could be a subcommittee for this committee, like some ambassadors assigned to it, and we can recruit from other committees and just go. There's some people who are more social than others.
Right, exactly.
It's sort of like a mixture. We could do a mixture, you know, like go to different restaurants and have
We also said that we were going to do some visits with the big, right? With Pedro Suarez.
Talk to you about that.
And
we had a good conversation about that today.
Very good conversation.
And with the SBS people. So maybe when we are walking with SBS, you can kind of like frame it as a business to the small business owners, and not just go to be like, yo, you got 2 complaints about this. Because they're going to be like,
yeah.
We want to build relationships. And that's
Yeah.
what I just want to really quick say before, you know, we wrap up. You know, this board, it's about being a community board member is not just about coming to meetings, right? And being in this space. Being a community board member, you are representing a space where you live. You are a conduit to your other neighbors, right? That live next to you. You're the eyes on the street, right? You're the ones building relationships. You're the ones talking and trying to figure out how can we solve these issues and how can we all work together? How can we all be good neighbors? And so it does take a little bit of stepping out of your zone to just walk into maybe La Parilla and say, who's the owner? I just want to meet you. Hi, my name is, I'm a community board member, you know, would love for you to come by and just learn or get to know the rest of our board. You know, how can we build a partnership or relationship?
thank you so much, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.
Discussion of all business.
One question.
Discussion of all business.
Yeah.
Do we have any old business?
I
One moment, please. One moment.
One moment.
Do we have any old business to discuss?
I missed my window.
There's no old business for the calendar, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I am going to politely ask that we adjourn this meeting, and then we can make other comments. So motion to adjourn this meeting.
I, DeLorean Moore, make a motion to adjourn.
I second. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, man. We all see on the rest coming up and down the block. Don't say nothing.
Home safe, everybody.
You all see on the rest coming up and down the block. Don't say nothing. I want to have the business in the ass up here.
Let my